Harwich Mariners look to make it their longest win streak of the season in pursuit of their fourth straight victory here tonight as they visit Gov Fuller Field for the final time during the regular season to take on the Falmouth Commodores as we head down the stretch here toward the playoffs. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome inside the press box. Tim Foley alongside my broadcast partner, Devin Dobek. And Devin, the Mariners are hot right now. This is an offense that has been prolific across its past couple of games. 10 runs last night against Brewster, only the second time all season in which they've put up double digits. And then 9 runs the night before against Orleans. 7 the night prior to that against Brewster. But, Devin, they're going to do it without one of their big pieces here tonight in Nick Goodwin, not in the lineup for the first time all season long.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to note. He's hitting 6 home runs this season. That's second in the league. He's been fantastic all year for the Mariners. Their backbone, and now not in the lineup, stripped away just like that. Also has the 22 RBIs on the season. That is second in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Really going to hurt the top of the order, but for Harwich, their last loss actually came against these Commodores, a game in which they lost 6-5. They stranded 11 men on base. That was the story of the game. Along with the 4 errors they committed, it would not be enough for them to be able to climb back into that one. So a little chance for revenge here against the Commodores team that is red hot.
And so let's take a moment and introduce you to the Harwich Mariners starting lineup. Batting leadoff, instead of Nick Goodwin, it's going to be the center fielder out of Virginia in Ethan O'Donnell. Batting second, the right fielder, Tommy Seidel. Batting third, the designated hitter, Joe Vitrano. Batting fourth, the third baseman, Brock Wilkin. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Hunter Stokely. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Kalai Harrison. Hitting seventh, the left fielder, Will Hammeter. Batting eighth, the catcher, Brian Art. And batting ninth, the second baseman, David Smith. Well, we've already gone through the anthem, the first pitch, all the ceremonies, but everybody's still standing on the sidelines as the umpires confer at home plate. Not quite sure what the delay is, but nonetheless, still plenty to talk about here as we introduce tonight's starting pitcher for the Falmouth Commodores. It's going to be Philip Abner, who's on the mound for Falmouth here this evening. Abner, well, on the season so far, when you look at his numbers, right now an ERA of 1.28, 3-0 record. This is set to be his 7th appearance, his 3rd start. He appeared in the All-Star game for the Falmouth Commodores, one of the Commodores to make it over to Wareham over this past weekend. Pitched an inning complete, struck out 1, allowed a walk and a hit. But in the regular season here, 15 strikeouts to 10 walks. We'll see what we get out of Abner here tonight.
He was credited with the loss on an unearned run in that All-Star game. And funny enough, he's facing the guy who was credited with the win for the Easton, Zane Probst, on the other side of things for Harwich. So it's going to be a great pitching duel here. If you like defensive baseball, a lot of outs, not a lot of runs, you're in the right spot here tonight.
As the team finally takes the field, let's take another moment and introduce the Falmouth starting defense for you. The outfield from left to right reads as such. Jace Borfin's out in left, Andrew Pinkney's in center, Drew Brutcher's in right field. The infield from left to right, Anthony McKenzie at third, Alex Mooney's at short, Colby Halter's at second, Jacob Walsh is at first, and behind home plate, the second half of the battery to Abner is going to be Daniel Nerai. He is getting his first start here at home for the Commodores. Of course, played against the Mariners last time these two teams met, but that was at White House Field. So now here he is back at home looking to make a difference for his squad. This game, just one of a slew of games going on tonight across the Cape League. Brewster's hosting Hyannis. That's already 3-0 Whitecaps in the top of the 7th inning, a game that started 2 hours ago. Wareham's hosting YD tonight. Orleans is hosting Bourne. And then later on tonight at 7 o'clock, Katuitt is set to visit the Chatham Anglers as every team starts to lock up some playoff spots. Katuitt, they locked up a playoff spot last night, as did the YD Red Sox. So there's fewer and fewer openings for the 2022 playoffs.
It's been a nice little, slew of things, as you put it, where the top couple teams have already, started to assert themselves as the first teams to make the playoffs. But after that, especially in the East, it is going to be a very tight race. I mean, you look at second to last place in the East, separated by just 2.5 games. Harwich sits at 2 with 34, tied with Brewster, but they own the tiebreaker. Brewster's got 34, Orleans has 32, and Chatham has 29. So between these 5 teams, it is going to be a fun rest of the way.
Certainly should be a fun one. YD, they are set to clinch first in the East if they can take care of business. They need to win, and they need Brewster and Harwich to drop their games here tonight. That would ultimately cement them in first in the East. As Ethan O'Donnell finally steps in, we get set to play some baseball here from Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field in beautiful Falmouth, Massachusetts. Abner comes set, delivers the first pitch, and it misses down low. The count's going to open at 1-0. Ethan O'Donnell on the season for the Mariners. This is his 8th game he's appeared in, batting .280 on the season right now. He's had a nice bat, 7 of 25. He's come across the score 5 times as well at that. And he's really just been a nice piece for Harwich since coming back from injury, as it's a 1-1 count now. A great game last night, had a double and a stolen base back in that big second inning. As that's going to miss 2-1.
Drove in 2 as well with that bat. He's up to 4 RBIs. Really, wherever he's put, we've seen him as high as 2, now 1 here tonight, and we've seen him as low as 9. Wherever Coach Engler decides to put him in the lineup, he is a yes sir kind of player, and he plays the same way no matter where.
Next pitch is in for a called strike. 2-2 now the count, and so we will also see Tommy Seidel and Joe Vitrano up to bat in this inning as Abner comes set, kicks and delivers. That misses inside, and the count runs full here. Again, Abner mentioned his numbers already, but 15 strikeouts to 10 walks. About 3 strikeouts for every 2 walks he issues, so not the greatest discrepancy there. That's going to be hammered through the right side. Ethan O'Donnell sends it the way of Drew Brutcher in right field. And so the leadoff man is on here for the Mariners, for Tommy Seidel.
Nice start for Ethan O'Donnell. He loves that gap between first and second. Shoots a lot of balls through there. Although his double was to opposite field last night, puts a lot of balls over through that area, and his first hit as a Mariner was actually to the right side of the infield.
As Tommy Seidel stands in now. Staring him down at the moment again, it's Abner. Here's the first pitch into Seidel. That's in for a called strike. Seidel, so far on the season for the Mariners, batting .221. Again, it's been a bit of a cool month of July for him. He was really hot toward the end of June. He's been trying to get back into a rhythm. He did just participate in the All-Star game this past weekend. An honor to do so, as that's going to be cut on and missed. Count is now 0-2 quickly here to Seidel. He is one of the leading strikeout recorders on the team, 36, second only to Nick Goodwin. He'll stand back in now as Abner comes set, stares over at first base. Here's the pitch. Off speed, 71 miles an hour, misses outside. It's a 1-2 count now.
Seidel tied for second in home runs as well with 4, along with Brock Wilkin and Joe Vitrano. So a lot of power in the top 4 of the Harwich lineup, but they're going to need a few home runs here tonight if they want to make up for Nick Goodwin's absence.
1-2 count. Abner looks over at first. Here's the pitch. That's going to be sliced the other way out toward right field. Getting underneath it is Brutcher. That will keep O'Donnell at first. And there's 1 gone now in the inning. You talk about Harwich as a team that's got a lot of power. They certainly do. In the top half in regards to slugging, 5th in the league at .333. And I think it's especially impressive to look at when they have the 2nd worst batting average in the league. You still find yourself in the top half of the CCBL in regards to power. And one of the big reasons why that is stands in the lefty batter's box right now. It's Joe Vitrano as the first pitch to him gets away. That allows Ethan O'Donnell to slide down to second base. And so the Mariners now have a man in scoring position for, again, big Joe Vitrano, who's now the league leader in RBI thanks to a grand slam he hit back in the second inning last night.
First Mariner to have a 4 RBI game. There was a handful of 3 RBI games, but the first one to pick up a 4, Joe Vitrano. Great night.
1-0 is in for a called strike at 90 miles an hour, 1-1. And yes, just hand in hand with that first grand slam of the season as well, of course. So really impressive to watch what he has been able to do for the Mariners. Talked to him about his time at the All-Star game, said it was just such an honor to be able to participate in that game, as the 1-1's going to be cut back foul over into the netting. And it's a 1-2 count now here to Joe Vitrano as Abner looks to record his first strikeout of the night if he can get Vitrano to offer it something here. On deck right now, Brock Wilken. Here's the 1-2. And that's going to miss down low. It's a 2-2 count now to Vitrano. 90 miles an hour that pitch came in at. So we'll do it again. 2-2 here to the big first baseman out of Boston College. Stands in, stares down Abner. He looks right back at him, looks at second now. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 78-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. He was just on top of it, nowhere near it. And so there's now 2 gone in the inning. It's the first strikeout of the outing for Philip Abner, and this brings up now Brock Wilken.
Broke out of a slump yesterday, had a 2-hit ball game, dumped a single, and also had a solo shot to left field off of Liggett. So it has to feel good for Brock Wilken to kind of come alive again after the only hits he really had in the last week were bloop singles or little chip shots.
First pitch into him is going to miss high. It's now 1-0, and yeah, he had been in a bit of a slump. But you think perhaps maybe, sometimes you hear about home run hitting contests and how they can throw a hitter off their rhythm. You think perhaps maybe for Brock it'll help to jump start him, as this next pitch is going to be hit through the right side. That's going to get down. Coming around third to score is going to be O'Donnell, and that's going to get all the way past Brutcher. He misplayed it out in right. Brock Wilken's going to be able to scuttle up to second base, and it's an RBI double for Brock Wilken. May go down as a single due to the error. Nonetheless, Brock Wilken stands on second, and Ethan O'Donnell has come across to score. Harwich leads it 1-0.
He has really started to wake up. I think you said it perfectly. It's almost like it ignited him. They did credit an error to the right fielder and Brutcher there, so he'll get the single. But nonetheless, the RBI and Ethan O'Donnell is huge to get Harwich on the board first, something that they've been more accustomed to doing as of late.
Did score in the first inning last night. That was a leadoff home run in the bottom of the first inning from Nick Goodwin. Of course, they were already down 2-0 at that point. As Hunter Stokely stands in now. And then the night before as well against Orleans had 2 runs. Nick Goodwin again coming home to score. So third straight night for Harwich, in which the leadoff runner has, or leadoff batter has been able to come across the score, as Hunter Stokely hits this one foul at 90 miles an hour. It's a 1-1 count now to him.
And we talk about that loss in power with Nick Goodwin, your #1 home run guy, being out. He homered actually here on opening day at Gov Fuller Field, along with Kenny Lavari, who was with the Mariners for the majority of the season. So you're out without both those power threats who know how to swing it here. Granted, was opening day, but really looking for someone to step up here tonight.
Swing and a miss, 78 miles an hour. Hunter Stokely out ahead of that one. So it's a 1-2 count now. And you mentioned Nick Goodwin. He had probably one of the better offensive performances we've seen this season from a Mariner on just opening night. You talk about the home run. Ended up with 3 RBIs as well. Had 4 hits in the ballgame. 3 runs scored. It's unbelievable. As Hunter Stokely's going to be rung up looking. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Philip Abner. But Harwich is on top. An RBI single from Brock Wilken puts the Mariners in a 1-0 lead. We'll be back with the bottom of the first inning, the Falmouth lineup, and the Harwich defense in just a minute. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harwich out in the field with a 1-0 lead after the top of the first inning. Bottom of the first coming up next. Let's introduce you to the Falmouth Commodores starting lineup. Batting leadoff, the shortstop Alex Mooney. Batting second, the second baseman Colby Halter. Batting third, the left fielder Jace Borfin. Batting fourth, the center fielder Andrew Pinkney. Batting fifth, the designated hitter Peyton Stovall. Batting sixth, the first baseman Jacob Walsh. Batting seventh, the right fielder Drew Brutcher. Batting eighth, the third baseman Anthony McKenzie. And batting ninth, rounding it out, the catcher Daniel Neeride. They will be facing off against Zane Probst, Seton Hall's finest, here tonight as he'll get the start. Probst, he's been starting a couple of games recently, had a notable start the other week against a Brewster team in which he went 7 innings, had an unbelievable outing. Zane Probst, or pardon, I believe it was rather against Wareham at home in that 7-1 win as he stands on the bump. Alex Mooney stands in now in the righty batter's box. First pitch into him is going to be hit out toward left field, and that's going to one-hop into the glove of Will Hameter. So Alex Mooney takes the first pitch he sees and lines it out into left field. Leadoff man is on for the Commodores.
And that's why he's an all-star, knows how to swing it. Might not be the best defensively. We saw him make a series of errors on opening day, but he knows how to swing the bat. A guy hitting, coming into today, 277. So you're going to get a lot of that out of their leadoff spot, and nice after they fall behind to get the leadoff runner on.
So taking the first step necessary in order to come back in this game, the Commodores, as Colby Halter now comes up to bat. Probst stares back at second. Here's the pitch. That's in for a strike. It's going to open up at an 0-1 count. But yes, Probst has mentioned that big 7-inning start that he had back on Thursday the 14th, a few weeks back. 7 complete innings. First pitcher in the league so far this summer to pitch 7 innings in an outing. Gave up 3 hits as the runner goes for second. Art's throw down to the bag. They got him. Brian Art, he's able to gun down Alex Mooney trying to steal second base. And just like that, the catcher out of UNC Wilmington helps to clean things up.
What a beautiful throw there, right on target. It had to be perfect because Alex Mooney, a lot of speed, but he put it perfectly. An easy tag for Harrison to make, and that's a nice first out for Harwich.
And Probst, he had another start since that last 7-inning outing, as it's a 1-1 count here to Colby Halter. Probst kicks and delivers. That's going to miss up high. It's a 2-1 count now. He was somewhat of an opener for Carlson Reed back on last Wednesday, the 20th, almost a week ago. Pitched a single inning to open up for Carlson Reed, who then ended up going 2 and was credited with the loss, as that's going to be popped up over toward the mound. Probst didn't know exactly where it was. Luckily for him, the big first baseman out of UNC Wilmington, or pardon, no, just UNC Chapel Hill, and Hunter Stokely did. Let's take a moment now and set the Harwich defense for you. It looks like this. The outfield from left to right. Will Hameter's in left. Ethan O'Donnell's in center. Tommy Seidel is out in right field. Brock Wilkins over at third. Clyde Harrison's at shortstop. David Smith is at second base. And Hunter Stokely's at first. Brian Arndt is behind home. He's the catcher here tonight. As first pitch into Jace Borfin misses low. It's a 1-0 count. But a good start so far here for the Harwich defense. You're able to get the first 2 down. Of course, Mooney got on, but a nice throw by Arndt to get him out.
Yeah, and Probst, he did pick up the win in the All-Star game, allowed 1 hit, had 2 strikeouts as well. So coming off that last outing, got a little confidence. It's nice to see your name next to the W for your entire division. So we'll see what he can do here. Another East-West matchup.
Yeah, and with how many pitchers go in that All-Star game for both sides, really is impressive to see a guy credited with the win. 1-1, gonna miss down low. It's a 2-1 count now. Mariners wearing their road blue jerseys with the red numerals. They say Harwich across the front, gray pants. Falmouth, on the other hand, their maroon socks, the white getup otherwise reads Falmouth across the front in maroon as well. Here's the 2-1. That's going to be plastered through the right side. That gets down, rolling toward the fence. Seidel chases after it. It bounces away from his reach. The throw into second is not nearly there. It's a 2-out double for Jace Borfin, who keeps Falmouth alive here in the bottom of the first.
He's a power guy. They just got him in, a returning guy from last season, but he's going to give everything he has. That was his 30th at-bat of the season, and he's already got 8 RBIs. He's scored 7 times, hitting .333 now on the season. Hit a home run against the Mariners in that 6-5 win for the Commodores last week. So definitely a great cleanup hitter, a great late addition for this team that's already on the up and up.
Yeah, Borfin did have the home run, came across to score twice in that game. As standing in now is Andrew Pinckney, center fielder here tonight for the Commodores. Probst comes set, stares back at second, comes home. That's going to be in for a called strike. The count opens at 0-1. Pinckney right now on the season for the Commodores, batting .250. 24 of 96. He's come across to score 20 times. That's good for second among active Commodores, behind only Alex Mooney at 23. The 0-1. Runner goes for third. Art's throw to the bag is going to go high. Past Brock Wilkin. That gets out into left field. Into scores Jace Borfin. Brian Arndt, he got a man stealing earlier in the inning, but as he tried to pick off Borfin at third, he invites him home. And it's a 1-1 game now in the bottom of the first with 2 gone.
Yeah, Brian Arndt, that is his 5th error of the season already. He has not been here too long. Made his debut back against Cotuit on July 9th. And so ever since then, he's had trouble behind the plate making plays. We did see the throw out earlier in the inning, but just tried to throw it over the batter that time in Pinckney. And he's so tall standing in that left side, or the right side rather, that he just airmailed it.
Ball hit on the ground, right back to Probst. It hops out of his glove for a moment. He's able to scoop it over to first. Did they get him? Yes. Hunter Stokely ended up bobbling it over at first as well. It was a low flip, but nonetheless, the play is made and the inning ends. Jace Borfin comes home to score on an error by Brian Arndt. And it's a tie game here from Gov Fuller Field. We head to the top of the second inning. We'll be back on the other side in just a minute. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back inside Gov Fuller Field. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you. It's Kalai Harrison who leads off in the top half of the second inning. As Harrison is standing in now, the lefty transferring to NC State for this upcoming season. He's facing off against Philip Abner, who is out there for his second inning of work. First pitch into Harrison, in for a called strike. The count opens at 0-1. Well, Harwich grabbed the lead 1-0 after the top of the first, but Commodores came right back thanks to a throwing error from Brian Arndt as he tried to catch Jace Borfin stealing third. And it's a tie game here as the next pitch misses for a ball. It's a 1-1 count, 90 miles an hour. That one missed outside. Harrison digs in once again. Stares down Abner. Here's the pitch. That's hit on the ground right side, and that's going to get through. All the way out into right. 3 hits in this game for the Mariners. All 3 have been ground balls through that right side. Second straight inning in which Harwich has opened up the frame with a single through the right side. So far, so good from the leadoff spot.
And nice for Harrison. He keeps the train rolling. Got on base 4 times last week against Orleans, and now he gets on twice last night, and now already on once tonight. It's been spectacular hitting in the Harwich lineup more regularly.
And he's also scored in 3 straight games, so he's looking to extend that today, if at all possible. First pitch comes into Will Haminer, another Mariner who has been doing a very nice job as of late. He's come across the score in 4 straight games. It's been really impressive to watch, see what these guys are able to do as the 1-0 count comes in. That's going to be chopped on the ground right side, picked up by Walsh. And no, it's going to get away. That goes all the way out into right. A grounder that got over his head, throw down his second, is not going to be in time. So it's a double to help push Kalai Harrison all the way down to third base, as Will Hamiter now stands on second, and 2 Mariners who have been trying to put together better performances at the plate, as they have been their past 2 games. And Harrison and Hamiter, they are in scoring position with nobody gone now for Brian Arndt.
Huge. One of those weird high choppers that just jumped over Walsh, almost like a rabbit, just right into right field. And then great speed from Hamiter, realizing that it was a slow roller into right, so he had time to get into second. Now nobody away, you got 2 guys in scoring position. Great spot to be.
As Arndt a chance here to make up for that last half inning. The throw that allowed Borfin to come home. It's a 1-0 count to open it up to him here in his first at-bat of the ball game. Abner comes set. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss high as well. Some pressure here on Abner. Mentioned it, he's walked 10 batters so far to this point in the season to the now 17 he has struck out. So not a stranger to granting walks. We'll see how he dials this at-bat back in. Already men on second and third. A walk loads the bases. It's just a 2-0 count. Here's the pitch. That misses well outside. Nothing doing there for Brian Arndt. So he's now a pitch away from taking a free base.
And wouldn't that be nice? You got your 9-hitter, which is not really a 9-hitter, and David Smith coming up. He had a 3-hit game last week, so we'll see what he can do if he gets the opportunity with the bases loaded.
3-0's going to miss low. Brian Arndt down to first. The first 3 batters in the inning here for the Mariners have all gotten on. Kalai Harrison with a single, Will Hamiter with a double thereafter, and now Arndt's walked down to first, and David Smith comes up to bat. You mentioned he had a 3-hit game. Probably one of the odder 3-hit games you'll see. All 3 hits, infield singles.
It was great, but just shows that if you hustle, you'll be rewarded. And for David Smith, a guy who's still trying to assert himself as an everyday guy, that had to be awesome.
That's going to drop in for a called strike, 75 miles an hour out of the left hand of Philip Abner. So it's an 0-1 count here to David Smith. Smith right now on the season for Harwich, batting just 200, 11 of 55, but again, that number's been improving as of late. The 0-1. In for a called strike. 0-2 count now. Abner trying to deal with this situation he has found himself in. Nobody's come across the score yet, but Harwich does threaten to regain the lead with a man on third and nobody gone. And the top of the order imminent. David Smith takes an 0-2 pitch down low in the dirt at 72. It's a 1-2 count now.
Smith going to have to bear a lot more weight also with Goodwin out of the lineup. He came in defensively for Goodwin after he left the game last night. Not sure if that was related to whatever has happened to lead to him being out of the lineup today, but he's going to have a lot more opportunities in the middle infield. He's going to have to step up as well.
1-2's hit on the ground left side. Picked up by McKenzie, thrown to second for one. On to first, not in time. And so the Harwich Mariners back out in front as Kalai Harrison on the double play, or the, relay from second to third, is able to come home. Will Hamiter advances down to third. It's Brian Arndt who's cut down on the 5-4 putout. But yes, David Smith, you mentioned it already, Devin. He's got that hustle, he's got that grit, and that is exactly what helped him to get on base there before the throw was thrown down. So that is going to be an RBI for David Smith, as that's now going to be 4 straight Mariners who have gotten on base. Ethan O'Donnell's up to bat now. He will foul off the first pitch he sees. It's an 0-1 count.
He already has a single and came around to score in the last inning. And to those of you who I hyped the game up to be a pitching duel, it seems like we're not quite going to get that, at least not in these early innings, as there's already 6 hits through an inning plus.
Next pitch into O'Donnell is going to miss for a ball, and so the count now 1-1. Yes, the bats have been awake here so far from Falmouth. Of course, this is an offense that has been pumping it up recently, as O'Donnell swings on a high fastball at 88 miles an hour. Can't find any of it, and the count now is 1-2, but Harwich as an offense across their past 5 games right now batting .252. It's been a lot of fun to watch as of late. That's compared to a season average of .215. So they've really been playing above what the expectations for them all season long have been. It's a 1-2. Runner goes. O'Donnell slaps it foul. We'll do it again at 1-2. 90 miles an hour. That pitch was fought off at. And all the way back to first now, David Smith. Smith hasn't stolen all too many bases this season, but he is a threat. He's got great speed, as we've mentioned. Had a great season last year over the summer, in which he was able to steal 12 bases with his summer league team, as that one's going to be hit right back at Abner. He throws on to second for 1. They throw on to first for 2. And that is the inning. An impressive relay. Abner throws it down to the second base bag, and they're able to whip it onto first in time to get 2. So the inning ends, but Harwich does tack on another run. They regain the lead, and we'll see now if Zane Probst is going to be able to lock it down here in the bottom of the second. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to Arnie Allen Diamond here in picturesque Falmouth, Massachusetts. Tim Foley and Devin Dobik along with you now for the bottom of the second inning. It's going to be the 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for the Commodores. Peyton Stovall, Jacob Walsh, Drew Brutcher, the 3 we will see in the bottom of the second. Zane Probst back out there. It's his second inning. Had a fine first, did give up a single and a double, but has yet to give up an earned run. Jace Borfin came home, was able to steal third base, and then the throw airmailed down over the head of Brock Wilkins. So Borfin ended up coming home. And at the time had tied the game 1-1, but Harwich has done a nice job retaliating. A 2-1 lead now for the Mariners after Kalai Harrison was able to come home back in the top half of the second. So it's a 1-1 count here to Peyton Stovall, the designated hitter for Falmouth. Probst rocks and delivers. That's in for a called strike. 91 miles an hour, that fastball on the outside part of the plate. 1-2. Stovall on the season batting .234 out of Arkansas. 11 runs so far for the Commodores. Here's the 1-2. Strike three. Called. He got him. Peyton Stovall goes down. First strikeout of the afternoon for Zane Probst.
Nice pitch there. Just froze him with a fastball right at the knees on the outer part of the plate. A pitcher's pitch. Even if he can catch up to it, it's not going to be able to have much doing with it. Maybe a ground ball over to the left side, but great pitch from Probst there, and a well-earned strikeout number 1.
So now Jacob Walsh stands in, the first baseman for the Commodores. Zane Probst kicks and delivers the first offering to him. That's going to miss outside at 1-0. Walsh so far on the season for Falmouth, batting just .190. 23 of 121 on the season. He's struck out 38 times coming into tonight. That is tied for the team high, along with Drew Brutcher. It's a 1-1 count to him here. So he's a guy who's trying to shore up on that plate discipline. Has just the 15 walks to the 38 strikeouts. Here's the 1-1. That's in for a called strike. A really nice pitch, 89 on the outside corner. 1-2 now.
Probst, you're going to see him lose that hat a lot. Always flies off in his follow through right onto the dirt. He has to pick it up at least every other pitch, it seems like.
Well, when you got a head of hair like his. The 1-2's in there for a called strike. Down goes Walsh, back-to-back strikeouts looking in the inning. Zane Probst is dealing here in the bottom of the second.
Same pitch there, fastball low and away. And all that Walsh can do is watch it go right by him. Talk about being disciplined, tries to there, lays off it, but too close to take. Nice pitch from Probst, back-to-back, looking.
Really impressive what we've seen from him, as the first offering to Drew Brutcher is in for a called strike, and the count is quickly 0-1. I mean, he's really just hitting his spots here tonight. He's looking excellent. Talked about it a bit already. He was the first man out of the bullpen in the All-Star game, filling in after Bryce Warwicker of Orleans. As the 0-1 misses low, it's a 1-1 count now. Got the win. Really impressive stuff from him. This is his third game against Falmouth. And Mariners, this is only their fourth game against the Commodores. Played against them back in the third game of the season. Home opener for the Mariners as well, as he picks up the hat on a 91-mile-an-hour fastball that misses for a 2-1 count now. Pitched an inning and 2/3, gave up just one hit, walked just one batter, and struck out 4. So he's had his stuff really all season long. As the 2-1 pitch comes in. Chop back foul, 2-2. And you see it where oftentimes pitchers are hot to start of the season because the bats are struggling so much, because everybody's trying to adapt to working with the wood bats from the metal bats that they were using over in college. But it's impressive to watch a pitcher have the same consistency all season long, whereas normally you'll see them start to tail off a bit after a long college season now here in the summer. 2-2 misses for a ball at 92, 3-2.
And for Probst, has not allowed an earned run since July 1st against the Cavaliers. He's been fantastic. That's 4 appearances since then, including the All-Star game. 2 starts. He's gotten credited for 2 wins. Just really great stuff we're seeing, and that's why he comes in with a .95 ERA.
It's just a lot of fun to watch out there. As the 3-2 pitch is going to just miss outside. They are not going to say that Drew Brutcher went around. They tried to appeal, but he did not go, so says the third base umpire. And so this brings up Anthony McKenzie, now the third baseman for the Commodores, as McKenzie so far on the season batting .210 out of Sam Houston State. That's just 13 of 62. Probst comes set, ready to deliver the first pitch into him. That's going to be hit out toward left field. Will Hamiter charging in, diving, makes the catch. Will Hamiter lays it all out. No, they're going to say he was safe. Hamiter insists he had made the catch, but instead the umpire indicating that the ball was dropped. It was a late indication that the ball had touched down to planet Earth. Umpires are perhaps going to confer in a moment here. We'll see ultimately what comes of it, but Probst and the entire Harwich defense thought that Hamiter did them all a solid and got him out of the inning.
Wow, I don't even know what to say. It was a sensational grab. I mean, he's throws with his right, so to come with his left-handed side and make a basket catch all the way across his body, it's so impressive. And you hate to see a play like that go to waste. The Harwich dugout not pleased. Zane Probst has to be out there longer in a higher pressure situation. Thank God a run didn't come in for that matter, but now just a weird situation. Even Falmouth had stopped moving thinking he caught it.
Yeah, were it not for the fact that Brutcher thought that Hamiter had caught the ball, he would have certainly come home to score. He had ample time. He was standing on third for a good while before realizing that the inning was actually going to continue. He just sort of hanging out at third.
They did credit McKenzie with a double as well for that.
As the first pitch into Daniel Neary is going to miss outside for a ball, and so the count opens at 1-0. And yeah, you said it, Devin. Leaves Zane Probst out there in a high-pressure situation now. With runners on second and third, there are 2 outs, and we know that Zane Probst is more than capable of getting an out, but here you are if you're Harwich. You grabbed the lead in the first, Falmouth came back, they tied it. You regained the lead back in the second, and now here they are once again knocking on the door. Unideal here if you're the Mariners. It's a 2-0 count now as Probst behind in the count. He's already issued a walk this inning. Here's the pitch. In for a called strike, 91-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 2-1.
So we'll see what comes of it. I just don't know how, if you're the umpire in the field, how you make that call that the ball hit the ground without any evidence. He even said, like, I don't really know what happened. The other umpires didn't see anything to overturn it. Just a tough break for the Mariners.
A 2-1 count, misses low on a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. It's a 3-1 count now.
And this is exactly what you're afraid of. You get back-to-back strikeouts. You walk someone fine, but then you're extended out there when you really shouldn't be, and now in jeopardy of walking yet another man in the inning.
3-1 is going to be hit out towards center field. Charging in is O'Donnell. Diving out. He can't make the catch. 2 runs come home to score. Drew Brutcher from third. Anthony McKenzie from second. Up to first base with a 2 RBI single. It's Daniel Neary. And the Commodores out in front now. It's 3-2 Falmouth here in the bottom of the second inning.
That's just terrible. I mean, this shouldn't have happened. Zane Probst really on the hook here. Umpire's not helping him out, and that's really a shame for him to surrender not only the lead, but for the other team to take it when he shouldn't even have been out on the mound. A bloop single, tough break there, but you got to just keep your head down, keep pitching, and hope your offense can pick you up.
First offering to Alex Mooney's in for a called strike, and the count is 0-1. Mooney on the night. He's 1 for 1, but he was caught stealing back in the first inning. And Harwich now twice here tonight. We've talked about how important it is to get off the field when you have 2 outs. All 3 of these Falmouth runs have come with 2 outs in the inning, as it's a 1-1 count now here to Mooney. So just unfortunate defensive situations here for Harwich have cost them some runs when they've been on the brink of getting out of these frames. That's going to be hammered right over to Brock Wilkin at third by Alex Mooney. It's caught on a line, and the inning ends. But the Commodores, twice they've fallen behind, and twice they have come back. They now lead it 3-2 in the bottom of the second as we head to the third. We'll be back on the other side of the break. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back inside Gov Fuller Field. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick with you now. There's been a run scored in every inning so far. Falmouth came out in the bottom of the second down 2-1. They scored 2 runs in an inning in which Zane Probst was able to strike out the first 2 looking, but since that point struggled. Gave up a walk to Drew Brutcher, a double to Anthony McKenzie, a single to Daniel Neary, before finally being able to retire Alex Mooney on a liner right over to Brock Wilkins. So the Mariners in a hole right now, 3-2. Tommy Seidel up to bat. He's worked an even count now, 1-1. Takes a 71-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch that misses low to even it out. We will see Tommy Seidel, Joe Vitrano, and Brock Wilkins in this half inning of play for the Harwich Mariners, trying to now tie this game up. Trailing for the first time this evening. Seidel pops this one up over towards second. Halter stumbling back, and he makes the catch. Puts on a show for everybody here. Tumbles back into the grass as he makes the grab, but he does hold on, and so there's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, you'll take it if you're Falmouth. Originally, Anthony McKenzie was supposed to be at second with Halter at third, so maybe he didn't know he was going to be playing there. And a little tough to read it off the bat as to what he thought it was going to happen, or what he thought was where he was going to be in the field, rather. But nonetheless, comes down, a little flashy there, and it's a loud first out.
First pitch to Joe Vitrano, 89 miles an hour. He can't find any of it on the swing, and he's behind in the count, 0-1. Vitrano so far on the night. Abner's got him to strike out swinging once already. Abner out for his third inning of work, kicks and delivers. Pitch misses down low. Vitrano takes. It's a 1-1 count now to him.
And for a little peace of mind, I have a colleague from UMass that is the director of baseball ops for the Commodores, and he said that the hammer play to left was a trapped baseball according to their cameraman. So they didn't have active replay, but it was not a crazy call by the umpires, as it appeared that way as well.
1-1 is cut on and miss. He's behind now 1-2, and if there's any team, any facility I would trust with their video replay to try to assess what exactly happened on a play, I would say it's Falmouth and the Commodores and the way that they run things here at Gov Fuller. Vetrano pushes this one out toward left field. Easily caught by Jace Borfin as he parks underneath it, makes the grab, and there's now two gone in the inning. But it's really something. I mean, they have quite the nice production room upstairs, a couple of monitors up there, a switcher, I'm sure a lot more machines and devices that I am not exactly privy to, that I'm not really capable of naming, as Brock Wilkins stands in now. 6 cameras, a part of their setup here at Gov Fuller, as it's an 0-1 count. First pitch to Brock Wilkins, in for a strike. Wilkin on the night, he is 1 for 1. Drove in the first run of the ball game, and Ethan O'Donnell with an RBI single back in the first inning. As that one skips in the dirt at 76, it's a 1-1 count now. Abner looking for his first clean 1-2-3 inning. The 1-1. Fought off, back over the backstop. It's a 1-2 count now.
We'll see if Wilkin can do some more damage with 2 outs. All that madness for Falmouth came with 2 outs. They earned the walk, then a double, then a single, and then a line out to end the inning. So maybe Harwich can counter with some 2-out magic.
1-2, misses inside, 2-2 now. Hunter Stokely and Kalai Harrison, the next 2 up in the Mariners order here. Brock Wilkin trying to do his best to pass it off to them. See if they come up in this inning or if they end up leading off the 4th. Wilkin blasts this one foul down the third base line. Draws a heads-up call from somebody in the crowd as it's a 2-2 count now.
Nice turnout here in Falmouth.
Yeah, beautiful day as well for it.
Not too hot. Yeah, perfect.
Some clouds. For our sake, we're not in the direct sun right now, as that one gets past the catcher Nerai, back to the backstop. And the count runs full now here, 3-2, 2 outs, nobody on. Falmouth leading by 1 here in the top of the 3rd inning. A beautiful 76 here in Falmouth, right about the Upper Cape. Not too far from Doran Park, where the Mariners will be tomorrow. As Brock Wilkin sends this one out towards center field. That's going back. That's going to get down, hits the wall. That's going to be a base hit. Brock Wilkin pulls up to second safely with a double, and the Mariners have some life here in the 3rd.
Just about as far you can hit it without it going out of Gov Fuller Field. Right off the top of the wall by the UFOS sponsor logo out there in left center field. A bomb from Wilkin. And just like that, you got a runner in scoring position. Let's see if Stokely can do anything about it.
So, yes, it is Stokely up to bat now. Wilkins done a nice job so far here tonight, 2 for 2. And he's set up a power threat here in Hunter Stokely with just 1 out. Ideal. You're going to want to try to drive Wilkin in on as few at-bats as possible. Hits this first pitch on the ground over to Halter at second. Throw on to first is in time. And just like that, on 1 pitch, down goes Stokely, and the Mariners rally. So, Wilkin hits a double in the inning with 2 outs, but nothing comes of it. Harwich still trails at 3-2 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back into Gov Fuller Field. Tim Folding and Devin Dobick along with you. It's the bottom of the third inning. It's the 2-3-4 hitters due up for the Falmouth Commodores. Colby Halter, Jace Borfin, and Andrew Pinkney all due up in this inning. Harwich with 2 outs in the top of the third. We're able to get Brock Wilkin down to second on a 2-out double from Brock himself, but was left stranded as Stokely then grounded out to second to end the frame. So it's Falmouth who leads it 3-2 right now. Top of the third, the only frame so far in the ball game in which a run was not scored. A run in each the top of the first, bottom of the first, top of the second, and then 2 in the bottom of the second. Zane Probst is back out there for his third inning of work. And so far, twice tonight, he's been successful at recording the first 2 outs in the inning, but has struggled from there. He's allowed a run with 2 outs in each of the first 2 frames, and he's behind in the count here, 2-0 to Colby Halter.
Halter tied for the league lead in homers with 7 as well, along with Ty Johnson of the Cotuit Cavaliers.
Halter ends up taking the 2-0 pitch. It's a 3-0 count now, trying to get on base for the first time tonight. Popped out to Stokely at first in his last AB. Probst nods, takes a deep breath, kicks and delivers. Misses outside, a 4-pitch walk to open up the inning. And like that, the Commodores have the leadoff man on for the second time tonight.
Now batting the left
Yeah,
from Arkansas,
that
number 9,
double, we'll call it, from McKenzie. The controversial play out to left really just shook his entire rhythm that he had found himself in. That's the most walks he's allowed on a season. 3 he's already surrendered. Or excuse me, 2. He was close to 3, but ties his CCBL season high with 2.
As Borfin now stands in. First pitch to him is popped up left side. Sprinting back is Wilkin, charging in now is Hameter as well. It's Hameter who gets there first and makes the grab on 1 pitch. There's an out now in the inning. Jace Borfin's retired. Still a man on first for the Commodores.
Andrew Pinkney.
You got to go through an all-star in Pinkney now, though. Grounded out to Zane Probst back in the first, but it was a hard one. Nice that he knocked it down. We'll see if he can move the runner in Halter over from first.
Probst stands in, stares in. Pinkney 0 for 1 on the night. Locked in from the righty box. Runner goes for second. Art, throw to the bag. Not in time. It was a low throw that kept Smith out in front of second base. And so Colby Halter is able to swipe a bag as he heads down to second base. A man in scoring position now, and that eliminates the double play defensively if you're Harwich. And on the season as well for Halter, that is going to be his 12th stolen base of the season. He's been impressive, just 1 shy of the team leader, Anthony McKenzie, who's at 13. A 1-1 count now here to Pinkney. Probst stares in. Shadows cascade across the infield. 1-1's hit on the ground, left side, foul. 87 miles an hour. It's fought off. It's a 1-2 count now.
Already 9 hits through just 2+ innings. It has been trading punches here between both squads. And you got a couple aces, I think it's safe to say, on the mound. So kind of something we weren't expecting, but it's just going to be who can capitalize on more mistakes. And so far, Falmouth has been up to the task, extending innings and scoring runs.
It's a 1-2 count. Probst stares back. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Down goes Andrew Pinkney. 3rd strikeout of the night for Zane Probst, as there's now 2 gone in the inning.
From Arkansas, number 10, Hayden Stovall.
Peyton Stovall stands in now. He was the first strikeout victim of Zane Probst, back to lead off the 2nd inning. Probst trying to make him the final batter here in the 3rd inning. Probst stares in, comes set, looks at second. Here's the pitch. Misses low, 89 miles an hour. Count is 1-0. We've seen a lot more balls here from Probst than I think perhaps we're used to. He's really struggling now to find that command. I'd say ever since he gave up that walk to Drew Brutcher, he's been a bit off. As it's a 1-0 count here to Peyton Stovall. That's going to be hit back up the middle, right past Probst into center field, and they're going to wave him around. That's going to be an RBI single for Peyton Stovall. Looked like the Mariners defense took their time playing that one, as it's now a 4-2 Falmouth lead.
Yeah, I don't know what O'Donnell was doing out there. He was playing it as if the bases were empty. Didn't come up throwing at all. He was slow to get the ball even. He wasn't charging all the way, kind of dogging it. And if he comes up firing, I think a good throw probably has got the runner. He had plenty of time, but you got to hustle all the time, and it's another 2-out run for the Commodores.
And he was already relatively shallow out in center. It's not as though he was all the way in the deepest part and had to make his way in. I agree with you, Devin. I think perhaps there certainly could have been a play toward the plate there had things been played a bit differently out in center. And so, yes, you said it as well, another 2-out run for the Commodores. Now all 4 of their runs here tonight have come with 2 men gone in the inning. Harwich has struggled to get off the field when there have been 2 retired. This brings up Jacob Walsh, 0 for 1 on the night, struck out looking back in the 2nd inning. This pitch into him is going to be popped up, foul, playable perhaps, charging over Probst, as is Wilkin. He'll make the catch, flip the ball back onto the mound, and the inning ends. So we head to the top of the 4th, but not before. The Falmouth Commodores hit an RBI single out towards center field. Peyton Stovall helps to drive in Colby Halter, and the Commodores have scored in all 3 innings so far here tonight. It's 4-2 Falmouth. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back inside Gov Fuller Field. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you. A 4-2 lead for the Commodores, taking you for the next 3 innings. Play-by-play duties. My broadcast partner, Devin Dobick. Devin.
It's an 0-1 count here. Is music still playing in the press box?
Yeah, look, I'm a big an Avicii fan as anybody else, but got some business to attend to here.
So, Kalai Harrison, he's already singled and scored one of the 2 runs for the Mariners tonight. We'll see what he can do against Phil Abner, who's back out there for his 4th inning of work. I believe Joe Savino is going to be loosening in the bullpen. It's now an 0-2 count to Kalai Harrison.
Yeah, not something that you want to have to see if you're Harwich, with Probst giving you the start here tonight as that misses high. It's a 1-2 count. But with the way that each inning so far has extended longer than it really should have, all 3 innings with 2 outs have gone extended batters. It's been frustrating for Probst and Mariners on the field.
2-2 now, 76. That off-speed pitch misses outside. Harrison waggles the bat. Now stands in. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him on the outside corner. Harrison right through it, and that will be out number 1.
Now batting the left fielder for
Strikeout
Alabama,
just number
46,
2 for
Will
Abner.
Hamiter.
3, excuse me. So that brings up Will Hamiter. He's already had a double tonight. Came around to third. Couldn't be pushed in after an unfortunate second inning in which the Mariners had the bases loaded with nobody gone and only chased in 1.
Yeah, and you think back to that inning more and more now. Of course, it's still early in the ball game. Plenty of chances for offense yet to come, but even still, anytime you leave runs on the base paths, always going to hurt.
As quickly, it's an 0-2 count to Hamiter. 88 on that pitch. He cuts and misses. Hamiter on the season came in hitting 184. He's been able to lift it above 200 to 205 with his double. As here's the next pitch to him. It's bounced, and the catcher flipped it off his helmet. Appears to be okay. As Daniel Nerai kind of just went to pick it out of the dirt and threw it right at the head of Hamiter by accident. Everybody seems to be okay, and we play on. Abner into the windup and the pitch. And this is ripped way out to left field, but not too much trouble for Jace Borfin. He takes a few steps to his right, and Hamiter is retired. There's quickly 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, Abner's done a really nice job of settling in since that second inning. In the third, he faced just 4 batters. Did give up the double to Brock Wilkin, but kept his composure, was able to get Stokely to ground out immediately thereafter, and now very quickly he's dealt with the first 2 in the inning so far here, so it's been impressive to watch Abner work across these past 2 innings here.
Now Brian Arndt climbs in. He watches strike 1 come in at the belt. 74 on that pitch from Abner. He walked back in the second inning, but then was the victim of a double play that was hit into, or rather a fielder's choice, as he lines this one up the middle, on the ground rather. And he'll round first, take a turn, and he checks in with a 2-out single. That's the 6th hit of the ball game for Harwich.
Yeah, I mean, the offenses on both sides really have been clicking. I mentioned how Abner has been locking it down these past few innings. I'd say that he has here in the 3rd inning. Potentially now the 4th, although we'll see if Falmouth is going to start to struggle with the same thing that Harwich has all game long. Can they get off the field with 2 outs? It's always the big question.
So David Smith has an RBI. That was a fielder's choice ground out. We'll see what he's able to do here. His top of the order awaits on deck in Ethan O'Donnell. As that one in there at the letters. So that'll even it up at 1-1. Arndt not a threat to go over at first. So David Smith's going to have to find a way to move him with the bat. Here's the pitch. Just misses up and in. And so Smith now ahead in the count, 2-1. Hitting just 196 on the season. No homers, 3 runs batted in. Yukon Husky middle infielder. This is bouncing there, gets away from the catcher Nerai, but keeps it in front of him. And Arndt forced to stay still at first.
Yeah, he thought about it, but a nice block by Nerai. And you want to try to keep your opponent out of this game mentally if you're Falmouth, and that's just what you're doing by cutting any opportunities to even steal bases on wild pitches such as that.
And we do have one final for you. That's Brewster defeated Hyannis 3-1. That game started at 4 o'clock from Stony Brook Field. Of course, they begin to do that after the All-Star break. So Brewster currently sitting in second place, leaping over the Mariners, whom held the tiebreaker with them. So Mariners, if they want to remain where they're at, need a win here tonight against the Commodores. There goes Arndt, and Smith punches it up the middle, and it will be stopped. The play to first, not in time. It's yet another infield single for David Smith. And Brian Arndt, who was running on the pitch, of course, 3-2, was able to get into second. He likely would have been out had he not been running. So now the inning continues to extend for Ethan O'Donnell.
Yeah, and you're able to deliver it back to the top of your order here. That's what you want to see if you're Harwich. Of course, you did that back in the second as well when you had the bases loaded, but then ended up getting O'Donnell to ground out in a double play fashion. So you're hoping for a better result here, but excellent job here if you're Harwich with 2 outs, not taking yourself out of the inning.
It's 0-1 to O'Donnell. And other Cape Cod League scores. Wareham on top of YD 1-0 in the top of the 4th from Spillane Field. Orleans even with Bourne 1-1 in the bottom of the 2nd at Eldridge Park. And Chatham and Katuitt just getting going. It's 0-0. O'Donnell flies this one over to Alex Mooney at shortstop. He puts it away, and that's out number 3. Back-to-back singles with 2 outs don't do much for the Mariners as they remain scoreless in the frame. We'll head to the home half of the 4th, 4-2 Commodores. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
The right fielder from South Florida, number 16.
It'll be the bottom 3rd of the lineup for the Commodores. Brutcher, McKenzie, Nerai due up in the home half of the 4th. They look to continue their streak of scoring in every half inning. They had 1 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, and 1 in the 3rd. Zane Probst is back out there for his 4th inning of work. And first pitch is cut on and missed to make an 0-1 count. Brutcher walked and came around to score in the 2nd. It's his 2nd look at Zane Probst and the pitch. This is lined over to the shortstop. Harrison stops it but doesn't have a play. So it'll be another infield single, this time for the Commodores. They got action on the base paths with nobody away.
Yeah, that's the 3rd time tonight that they've been able to get the leadoff man on in their 4 innings so far. Falmouth's offense has been clicking here. It's been something to watch, especially against a guy against Probst who's generally been excellent this season for Harwich.
Most hits he's given up is 4. That came in the 11-0 loss against YD. He's given up 6 today already through just 3+ innings of work. Not his best right now. As that one just misses outside, he disagrees, but it'll be a 1-0 count. 90 on that pitch. McKenzie doubled and came around to score as well in the second. That was that play with Will Hameter. Still a 1-0 count, is back in safely that time, is the runner in Brutcher. Probst comes set. And the pitch. That catches the outside corner at 91, and he's even in the count 1-1.
Yeah, you need that if you're Probst. You've been falling behind 2-0 to too many guys here, more than you're used to in your outings. Come right back, even out the count, 1-1.
It's already up to 51 pitches. Here's number 52. Rather, they're going to pick him off, and they get him by a lot. How about that? Drew Brutcher, not even a dive back. Probst just froze him. An easy tag for Stokely. That's a nice little out that time. Help yourself out if you're Zane Probst.
Just put some concrete shoes on him. He was not moving. As soon as Probst threw that ball back, he just sort of stood there, accepted his fate, even ran back towards Stokely. Really impressive pickoff move as Probst was able to help himself out there.
This one misses to make it a 2-1 count. Daniel Neerai, the catcher, waits on deck. One away here in the fourth. The pitch. Misses outside again. Probst really trying to nail that outside corner and getting frustrated that he's not getting the calls. As Art going to come out, have a conversation with Zane.
And that was the spot he was hitting earlier in the ball game. Fastball on the outside, but it's since evaded him.
3-1 count now to McKenzie. Seemed like a long at bat for him, but a few checks over to first base by Probst, including a pickoff, have been what's made it seem like a long-lasting at bat. The pitch. That one is in there on the inside corner. And so it'll now be a full count at 3-2.
Yeah, huge chance to win it here for Probst. You want to be able to get this out. Put Falmouth on their heels a bit here in the inning.
As this one misses outside, and now Zane Probst has issued his third walk of the outing. And if it weren't for the pickoff move, it would be runners on first and second with nobody gone. Now just the runner on first with one away. Much more manageable for Zane, as that brings up Neerai.
And if you're Harwich, you have to always keep in mind in a situation like this, you're always going to be a pitch away, as Coach Engler's going to come out now.
Probst not pleased. I wonder if this could be the day for him. Engler usually talks to his pitchers about it the first time he heads out there. And this seems to be no exception, as looks like Probst's going to hang on to the baseball. Coach Engler nodding, now shaking his head. Tough to get a read on. Probst will stay out there and remain in the game for the time being. Next time we see Engler, that will likely be his day. So Neerai is already singled. Everyone in the bottom third of the order has reached base, with a hit for that matter. So we'll see what he's able to do. They've been on base 5 out of 5 times that they've come to the plate. Neerai will be the 6th. It's now an 0-1 count from Probst to start him.
Yeah, I mean, always impressive whenever you can see this part of the lineup doing that kind of work.
Another pickoff attempt, close, but back in there safely is McKenzie. Another pickoff attempt, just as close. Probst's got a really good quick move. That jump step over to first base where his toe leaves the rubber and he's able to plant and make a strong throw. See if McKenzie is put in motion here. The pitch. And this is flied out into foul territory. Wilkin giving chase, but it escapes. And it'll be 0-2. It's an 0-2 count. To Nerai. They got it wrong on the scoreboard. Six hits for the Commodores. Big seventh one would be awesome for them here. Another pickoff attempt from Probst, and back in there with the right hand is McKenzie. All these pickoff attempts have been really close plays over at first.
Yeah, they have been, and it's just interesting here to see Probst really going back to it. Falmouth not really scared by what Probst has done so far.
This one just misses. That makes it a 1-2 count. Four to 2 is the score. Falmouth on top.
Gotta love that mentality from your pitcher, though, that nobody's safe even if they're safe.
It's a good way to put it. Another attempt. Really paying attention to him over there at first. He's got the confidence that he can pick people off. He's already done it to Drew Brutcher in the inning. We'll see how risky McKenzie tries to play it. 1-2 pitch coming. And that gets by Arndt all the way to the backstop, and now up the dugout side, all the way towards third base off that brick wall. Arndt lets one get by him. That's a pass ball, and down to second goes the runner in McKenzie. So after all that paying attention, he gets a free ticket.
Yeah, really interesting how lively that brick wall is behind home plate. I mean, I think either way, with that ball getting back, even if it was padded, and then it would have been a free base for the runner in McKenzie. But that thing just shot pretty much all the way back down to third base.
No kidding. As Nerai even in the count. 2-2. As Probst takes a long look in once again. The pitch. And this is grounded over towards Smith at second. He'll make the play over to first. Stokely took a little longer getting to the bag, but it will be another out. The runner in McKenzie down to third. And we'll see if Falmouth can continue their streak of scoring in every inning here.
Yeah, and again here, if you're Harwich, no better time to try to buck the trend. Every run Falmouth has scored so far in this ball game, all four have come with 2 outs. You find yourself here with 2 outs. It's down to you, the pitcher Probst, and the batter, who right now is Alex Mooney, who's always a danger in the box. But if you're Probst, just try to handle him here and get out of this inning unscathed for the first time tonight.
Mooney on the day. It's 1 for 2. He's singled in the first and then lined out to third in the second. As this one is in there to make it a 1-1 count now to the Duke shortstop. A few Duke Blue Devils on this Mariners team, or at least former. Graham Pauly, of course, who was just selected. Billy Seidel, who was just selected. And then Jonathan Santucci. As that one just misses the outside corner. Mooney, a good job to lay off there. And it's now 2-1.
Such a strong baseball presence in the state of North Carolina. I mean, how many Mariners as a whole play within North Carolina, or at least are committed to?
As this is chopped over to third. A nice pick by Wilkin on the short hop. He goes to first, and it is in time. So the Mariners get out of the jam. Probst strands him in at third. It's 4-2 Commodores. We head to the 5th. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
fielder from Alabama, number 34, Tommy Seidel.
Welcome back as we're here in the top of the fifth. Devin Dobeck, Tim Foley bringing you the action from Gov Fowler Field in Falmouth. Tommy Seidel, Joe Vitrano, and Brock Wilkin, the three Mariners that are due up to face Philip Abner, who's out there for his fifth inning of action, as Seidel doesn't completely commit to that swing and goes around for strike one.
Yeah, an uncomfortable looking swing to open up the at-bat. We've seen that at times from him. Does not have the greatest times trying to check his swings.
As this one will miss up and away, and he's even in the count at one.
You know, and that's just such a huge part of any batter's arsenal, is the ability to have a good take. You need to be able to quickly deconstruct your swing and put a stop to things if you do not want to go around.
Another pitch misses up high around Seidel's neck area, and it's 2-1. He's 0 for 2. He's flied out to right and flied out to second. See what he can do here in his third trip against Philip Abner. He's ahead in the count 3-1. Seidel, not a guy who's walking as much as you'd think. Just has 10 walks on the season. That's across 122 at-bats. Registered at-bats, of course. As that one will catch the outside corner, a tough pitch, but he'll have to hang in there for one more. It's 3-2.
Yeah, and I think even Vitrano thought he got that one to miss outside. He started stepping toward the batter's box as he's on deck.
And here comes the pitch from Abner, and it is lined into left field for a base hit. So Tommy Seidel checks him with a single. A nice 3-2 swing. 8th hit of the ball game for the Mariners. And they have activity on the base paths with nobody gone.
Yeah, this is what you want to see. Harwich generally finding success this season. 6-4-4 when recording anywhere from 7 to 9 hits in a ball game. Right about where they're at right now, but they trail despite out-hitting the Commodores right now.
It is a pretty steep mountain, not very steep, but steep the way that the Mariner offense has kind of sloped off here as far as run support. They've stranded a handful of runners, at least one in every inning, 5 total through 4 innings. They stranded just 3 last night against Brewster, which was a key to their success. Stranded 11 against the Commodores in their last meeting last week. So got to be able to capitalize when you have men on. And Vitrano, a guy more than capable of tying it with one swing. We'll see what he can do. It's a 1-1 count to him. The pitch. That misses up high. He shakes his head in agreement, and it's 2-1. Brock Wilkin on deck. He's 2 for 2 on the day. Back-to-back multi-hit games for him. And the pitch. That just misses the outside corner, so it'll be 3-1 now to Vitrano. He has struck out swinging and also flied out to left. Big spot for him here, the BC power threat. And the offering from Abner way up. Vitrano has to duck, and he earns a walk. So it'll be first and second now with nobody gone for Brock Wilkin.
Nice start to the inning so far here if you're Harwich. Second time they've gotten the first 2 men to get on. Last time was back in that second inning. But they only got the 1 run in Kalai Harrison. And I think if you're Harwich here, you want to be able to find more, especially with the heart of your order coming up right now.
And that will be the day for Abner as the head coach and Jeff Trundy gives the nod to his bullpen. We'll have a pitching change, and when we come back, we'll introduce you to the new arm for the Commodores. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. called to the bullpen. It's going to be Luke Malone coming into the game from Texas San Antonio, native of Round Rock, Texas. This will be his 4th appearance, all in relief. He has an ERA of 9 across 6 complete innings. He's allowed 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a record of 2-1. And opposing batters hitting .308 against him, a 1.67 whip. So we'll see what he's able to do against Brock Wilken. And the first pitch is lifted out to deep center field. Going back is Pinckney at the warning track, and he's got it. Tagging up and heading for third is Seidel. Over to second goes Vetrano, and it's a picture-perfect job by Brock Wilken to advance both runners. He missed a home run by about 15 feet. He's been crushing the ball today, but now no force plays, no double plays, and 2 in scoring position for Stokely.
Yeah, you're happy with that from Brock Wilken, a guy who's already had his fair share of hits here tonight, is able to have yet another meaningful at-bat in advancing the runners, and now a chance with a base hit perhaps to be able to bring in 2 runs. Of course, you have Vetrano over on second, so it's going to have to be a well-struck ball if you want to do it in 1AB.
As Stokely stands in the left side, first pitch to him, 84 miles an hour, misses outside, and it's 1-0. Hunter on the day is 0 for 2. He struck out looking and also grounded out to second. Kalai Harrison on deck. And the pitch. This is rolled over to second base, fielded by Halter. He goes to first for 1. In to score is Tommy Seidel, though, so it'll be an RBI for Hunter Stokely, and it's now 4-3.
Yeah, I mean, you'll love to see it, just continuing a streak of excellent at-bats here for Harwich. Meaningful at-bats, I should say. Of course, the past 2 recorded as outs, but even still, Wilken advances the runners each a base, and Stokely able to do just the same. But you do need Harrison here to be able to put together something for you now, despite, well, actually already on the night, I should say, already with a hit. So he's proven himself so far once here from Falmouth.
So it's going to be 0-1 to start Harrison. On the day, he's 1 for 2. Has a single in which he came around to score to lead off the second. Also has struck out. Base hit for him here would give him his 3rd RBI and tie the ball game. This one misses down low. It's 1-1. 82 on that pitch. A guy who has not been bringing a ton of velocity, but we'll see how his control is. You got to have at least one of those. He's put into a situation where hopefully he can get out. Of course, those runs will be credited to Abner. It's now a 2-1 count to Kalai Harrison. Mariners are up to 8 hits. 6 for the Commodores, but they trail 4-3 here in Falmouth. And the pitch. That one is going to be in there at the letters. Harrison really didn't like it. He shook his head in disbelief, but he's going to have to battle. It's 2-2.
Yeah, those 8 hits that Abner allowed in his outing, the most that any opposing pitcher has allowed in a ball game all season long. Robeson back at YD back about a week ago, the last to allow 7.
As Harrison swings and misses at this breaking ball and goes down, he's still upset about the second strike, but that ends the inning. So the Mariners get 2 on to start the inning, and Tommy Seidel comes around to score on a Hunter Stokely RBI groundout. It's 4-3 Commodores. We head to the bottom of the 5th. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network.
Leadoff for the Falmouth Commodores. The second
2-3-4 due up for
baseman,
Falmouth.
number 7,
They surrendered
Colby Halter.
half of their lead back in the top half. It's 4-3. Colby Halter set to start things here. He's walked, swiped a base, and scored back in the third, along with a pop out to Hunter Stokely at first. Zane Probst is back out there for his 5th inning, so they are going to stick with him. A lot of trust in that man. Guy who does not want to be pulled from games very easily. He will do whatever he can to stay out there and help his team. A 1. This is down low, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, I remember that 7-inning outing, I should say, that he had back earlier this season. He was almost taken out in the middle of that 7th inning by Coach Englert, but he was able to talk Englert out of it, stayed out there, finished out the inning.
As this one is popped up into the backstop, so it'll be 1-2. Probst does have the 3 strikeouts in the ball game. Not the most we've seen out of him, but he's been pitching to contact more tonight. Has allowed the 6 hits. Surrendered 3 earned runs as well, 1 unearned, thanks to a Brian Arndt error. And the 1-2 pitch. Checked his swing. Did he go? No, says the third base umpire. So, getting to hang in there now is Halter. It's 2-2.
We've seen Probst really try to get guys outside. It's worked for him a bit. That was earlier in the ball game, but he's struggled to locate on the outside portion. We'll see what he goes back to here on a 2-2.
Just misses. Infield thought he had it, but it'll be now a 3-2 count. His pitch tally is up to 69. Just 1 shy of 70. And that one will miss. A tough walk for Probst. He has now issued 4 free passes to first base. This is not something we have seen too much from him. But
Now batting, the
there's
left
activity
fielder
on the
from
base paths
Arkansas,
once
number
again
9,
for the Commodores.
Jake.
Scored in every inning but the 4th, and now something brewing here in the 5th.
Yeah, 2nd time he's specifically given up a walk to Colby Halter to lead off an inning as well. Halter ended up coming around back in the 3rd, so Probst hoping that perhaps the fates will be different this time.
First pitch to Borfin is fouled off. He's doubled and scored and also flied out to left. We'll see what happens here. Not sure how much more we're going to see of Zane Probst with that pitch count going up and now getting himself into trouble. So here comes the 0-1. This is flied into the gap in right center field. Going over is O'Donnell, and it's going to fall. Gets all the way to the wall. Rounding third and coming in to score is going to be Halter. The play to the plate not going to be in time. And down to second with a double is Borfin. So back-to-back base runners given up by Probst, and it's 5-3 Falmouth.
Not what you wanted to see out of Probst. Obviously, you're hoping he's going to be able to come in, perhaps give you one more good inning because he's had some long ones so far. Certainly has not been efficient at the clip that he was back in that 7-inning outing earlier this season, but just has not been able to handle anybody here in the 5th. Halter on with the walk, Borfin the double just then, and
Now batting,
see what
the center
comes of it
fielder
here.
from Alabama, number 24, Andrew Pinckney.
Andrew Pinckney, the center fielder, digs in. He's 0 for 2. He's grounded out to Probst and also struck out swinging.
And I gotta say it, I think I'm surprised that Englert is yet to give Probst the hook.
Yeah, it has definitely been long, and he drills Pinckney here. So, yeah, Englert still in the dugout. Let's see if he comes out now. He does not appear to be moving at all from his position after Zane Probst has allowed the first 3 men now in the 5th
Batting, the right fielder
to
from
reach. And,
South
I mean, you
Florida,
got a great, capable reliever in Joe Savino in the pen, or at least that's what we were under the impression of. And we thought that the 4th inning might have been it for Probst, but now he's just really putting himself in a bad position. It's going to be tough to pitch out of.
And we know that Coach Englert likes to let guys prove themselves, but that has not always worked out to the benefit of the Mariners. I mean, we saw it happen earlier this season with Blake Purnell as he was left in too long in the game against Chatham back on Sunday the 17th earlier this month. Ended up giving up 4 runs after it was apparent he was struggling, and then ultimately ended up being credited with the loss. And so sort of similar circumstance here. Prope's really struggling right now, but he's left out there.
This is cranked out to deep center field. Going back is O'Donnell at the track. He's got it. Tagging up and heading down to third is Borfin. And so it's a very long fly ball by Stovall for the first out.
Yeah, boy, that thing was just tattooed. I would not be surprised to learn if it had imprints left from the bat on that ball. I mean, just unbelievable. The strength he had to be able to power that thing out to the deepest part of the ballpark. Just, it was caught impressively by O'Donnell as he was able to get back there. But, I mean, he hits that thing a few degrees further left or right, and that's another double easily, bringing in more runs for the Commodores.
Now is Jacob Walsh. He struck out and popped out to third. There goes the runner. Arndt couldn't get it out of his glove whether or not he was throwing, so it'll be second and third now. It's a stolen base for Andrew Pinckney.
And I think the thing, too, there, the fear is that perhaps Borfin could have come home on the throw. We've seen it happen a couple times. Harwich usually does not like to bite on a runner heading down to second base whenever there's a man on third. You never want to risk having to throw it back home in a hurry to try to catch a man out at home.
1-0 is out into center field. A base hit now for Walsh. In to score is one. Right behind him another. And it's a 2-run single. Borfin and Pinckney come right in. And Jacob Walsh collects a pair of RBIs. It's 7-3 Commodores.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. Stovall cranks it out to dead center, ultimately caught by O'Donnell, but it helps to move runners along, and then Walsh is able to power one through the right side. Probst just left in there too long. A guy who, even across just the first 2 batters, you could tell, did not have it here in the 5th, and right now it's cost his team 3 runs, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was this long, but it will be a call to the bullpen. Not sure who it will be, but we'll take a quick break and introduce you to him on the other side. Might be Jacob Edwards. It's 7-3 Commodores. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back. Cam Mayer is going to be the call to the bullpen. On the season, he's 0-1 with a 5.78 ERA. This will be appearance number 6 for him. He's made 1 start, thrown 14 complete innings, struck out 16 to 5 walks, and allowed 17 hits. He inherits the runner on first base in Jacob Walsh as Drew Brutcher climbs in. He will be the 6th batter of the inning for the Commodores. They've already scored 3 thus far, have just the 1 out. And Brutcher has walked, come around to score, and also singled. He was picked off by Probst, whose line is still open. So 1-1 count.
But one of the things closed on that line, the hits, and as was the case with Philip Abner allowing 8 hits, the 8 hits allowed by Zane Probst, also the most that a pitcher has allowed for the Mariners this season. Previous high was 6. That's been done a couple times this year, but 8, the new high mark.
He also walked 4 people. As this is ripped into center field for a base hit, O'Donnell knocks it down. And just like that, it's back-to-back hits. Brutcher checks in his 3rd time on base, and a throw is misfired into the infield, and down to 3rd goes Jacob Walsh. Ethan O'Donnell has really had an uncharacteristic night out there in center field. A lot of mental and physical mistakes by him.
Yeah, he's just been not having the greatest day out there. Just completely missed wide on the throw to Smith and was well away from Brian Arndt as Arndt tried to scramble over to stop it in time, but not nearly was Arndt able to get there in time to be able to prevent Walsh from heading down to 3rd. That was with a bit of a delay from Walsh. He wasn't sure, but ended up having plenty of time.
As Mayor's next pitch is fouled back into the netting. That'll be strike 1. Anthony McKenzie has reached base twice, doubled, come around to score, and also walked. He gets his first crack at the Tufts product from Syosset, New York. Rising sophomore for the Jumbos, 6'4", 195. As it'll be a 1-1 count. On deck, Daniel Neary. Commodores looking to pack up the scoreboard. And O'Donnell was credited with an error on that play because it cost the Mariners a base. So now the Mariners up to 2 errors. They did not have one in quite some time. You'd have to look all the way back before the All-Star break on the 20th of July. Here comes the 2-1 from Mayer. And checked his swing. Yes, he did, says the home plate umpire, and it's 2-2.
Hits in the game right now up to 17. Season high combined is 22, and we're just past halfway in this one.
As swung on and missed is that one. Down goes McKenzie for the first time today. Great pitch from Cam Mayer. He picks up his first strikeout and a big one. Now just has to focus on the batter.
Danny Neary.
Neary on the day is 1 for 2. Had a single in the second and also is grounded out to second. Big lead for Brutcher over at first as first pitch from Mayer misses outside to make it 1-0. Commodores have 3 runs, looking to tack on more here in the inning. There's runners at corners for their 9-hitter. And the offering from Mayer is going to be in there at the knees to make it 1-1. And the next pitch is going to be just inside. Arndt wanted the call but won't get it. And it'll be 2-1 now. Top of the order, Alex Mooney on deck. He's already had 3 ABs tonight. Seemed like Harwich had all the momentum coming out of the last half inning, but really just been a battle for them. As Wilkins got it over at third base, going to have to rush the throw, and it is just in time. Brock Wilkin had to make a strong throw on a ball that was hit high, and he seemingly took forever to land, but he gets it over there, and that's out number 3. But Zane Probst's night is over, and the Commodores get 3 more off of him before he exits. It's 7-3 Falmouth. We take a quick break, head to the 6th. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Will Hammiter, Brian Arndt, and David Smith do up for the Mariners as it's now a 4-run lead for the Commodores here. Luke Malone is back out on the mound. He set down 3 straight batters when he came in relief of Abner, and what was looking to be a big inning for Harwich. They would not be able to get more than just the 1. They've now stranded a total of 6 runners in the ball game. As first pitch to Hammiter, he fouls off back into the woods to the left in its own 1. Malone, he's got that windup where he brings the glove over his head while he kicks and then delivers. It's now 1-1 count to the Alabama Crimson Tide product. Another pitch is soared over into left field. Long run for Borfin, and he won't get there on the dive. It bounces fair. Rounding first, heading into second is Hammiter. He's going to take a turn for third as the dive had been delayed. And now Hammiter is in there with a stand-up triple. That will be just the 3rd Mariner with a triple this season. He joins Nick Goodwin and Tommy Seidel in that club. And a nice way to start if you're Harwich. A man on third and nobody gone. The umpire's going to have to converge and see if this ball got out of play and that it was a ground rule double. And they are going to make Hammiter revert to second. The Harwich staff can't believe it. They are completely upset.
Yeah, you thought you got a nice break, a triple perhaps to open up the inning. But even still, you have to be happy with it, as Will Hammiter, again, a guy who's been trying to come into his own. It's his 2nd extra base hit of the night. I mean, that alone, to get that from a guy like Hammiter, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Cut by YD earlier in the season. Hasn't played a whole lot for the Mariners, but has been finding his way into the lineup more and more with a departure of a flock of outfielders. So it's been a lot of fun to watch a guy who, on the season, had yet to record an extra base hit coming into tonight, now finds himself with 2 in the same ball game.
He has been fantastic here. Another multi-hit performance for him. And so now he's in scoring position for Brian Arndt. As Malone's first offering to Arndt is going to hit him. He drills Brian Arndt. And just like that, the Mariners get the first 2 men on for David Smith.
And here you go. You get a guy up in Smith as well who's found success in getting on base here tonight. And even if he fails to do so one way or another, you still have the top of the order coming up thereafter. So you really have to like the job that this bottom third of the lineup has done. They've gotten on base now in 7 out of the 8 plate appearances that they have had to this point. It's been a lot of fun to watch this bottom third go to work.
David Smith, the switch hitter, will stand in from the left side for the first time tonight. He watches ball 1 go by from Malone. Not sure if David Smith will drop one down here. He has been swinging it well, has an infield single already tonight. And next pitch from Malone is going to be fouled off back into the woods, and that makes it a 1-1 count. Top of the order, and Ethan O'Donnell on deck. You know, he's just jonesing to get into the batter's box to avenge what has been a very difficult defensive night for him. Has been charged with an error, also a mental error a few innings before that you won't see on the stat sheet. 1-1 to Smith. Misses up high at the eyes to make it now 2-1. 86 on that pitch from Malone. Smith, a deep breath, stands in, twirls the bat. Long look in from Malone. He now comes set. A big batter for him. And the pitch. Smith slaps it out to left field. Another long run for Borfin, but he makes a nice running catch down at his knees. And that will be out number 1. It looked like Smith might have really gotten away with something there, but nonetheless, it will be the first out.
Yeah, nearly was able to get that thing down. Would have really helped to get Harwich back into this ball game. Just keep everybody rolling, keep passing the torch along. But even still, Smith, as he's retired, you're still setting up top of the order. And now O'Donnell and Seidel, who each have hits so far here tonight and runs scored.
O'Donnell has singled and come around to score, as well as ground into a double play and line out to shortstop. Malone got that big first out while stranding the runners where they're at, as O'Donnell will fly one foul, and he's now behind 0-1.
Go, D. When you like, kid.
Tommy Seidel offering words of encouragement to the young center fielder. See what O'Donnell is able to do. 2 ducks on the pond. And the pitch. Just misses outside. That makes the count 1-1 to O'Donnell. 77 on that pitch. Ethan O'Donnell waggles the bat and lines this one through the hole into right field. Taking a turn and going home is Will Hamner. The play to the plate is not going to be in time. Without a slide, in goes Hamner. And so that will be a run, a very risky send over there at third base by Coach Tebow. He's laughing, had to take the helmet off in relief, but it pays off as Hamner is safe and the Mariners get one back. It's an RBI single for Ethan O'Donnell.
Yeah, and you know, I think sometimes you got to be risky whenever you've been struggling to get guys around. And yes, Harwich had scored 3 runs to this point in the game, not a horrible mark, but at the same time, when you're trailing by 4 runs against this Falmouth team who on offense has just not slowed whatsoever, you need to be able to keep pace. And so I like the aggressive send. You're ensuring that you're getting runs across without having to leave it up to the next batter each and every time. Although plenty of credit to Ethan O'Donnell as he was able to come in clutch and hit one through the right side as he has been this season.
It's a 1-0 count to start Tommy Seidel, who on the day's 1 for 3, had a single, came around to score in the 5th. And now Will Hamner has scored in 5 straight games after he comes across right there. The pitch. In at the knees to make it a 1-1 count now. Seidel on the season, 27 for 122 coming in. Does have the 4 homers, 15 RBIs. As third pitch coming now from Malone. That misses inside, and it'll be 2-1. Just cross 8 o'clock Eastern time here on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And still just into the top of the 6th here. Other games going on around the league just about in the same spot. Granted, this is a 6 o'clock start time. 2-1. Gets by the catcher. Everybody's going to move up 90 feet. Brian Arndt down to third. O'Donnell's into second. What a huge swing of events. Tommy Seidel now with 2 in scoring position and up in the count 3-1.
Yeah, takes some pressure off of him here, eliminates the double play potential, at least in a traditional sense. And so in a hitter's count, everything's looking up right now for Seidel and this Mariners offense. Have to find some kind of way to turn this into a productive at-bat.
See what Seidel can do. As the 3-1. This is grounded over to shortstop Mooney on a weird jump. He looks the runner back to second. In to score is Brian Arndt. So Tommy Seidel picks up an RBI ground out, and the Mariners get another one back. It's now 7-5.
There you go. Just have a productive at-bat. Still plenty of time in this ball game, considering now you're down just by 2. The way you've been able to scratch across some runs in this inning, you're really opening it up for you to be able to come back with greater ease as opposed to, say, a 4-run deficit in the 8th or 9th. So already a fantastic inning here for Harwich. You still have a man on second in Ethan O'Donnell, and with a threat in Joe Vitrano up to bat, you can always expect perhaps more. I think you have to be looking for more here with a guy like Joe up to bat.
He's 0 for 2 on the day, has also walked in the 5th inning. Count is 0-1 to the designated hitter, one of the 3 straight All-Stars in this Mariner lineup. Big swing that time from Vitrano. Now he's going to have to shorten up. It's 0-2. He's the 6th batter in the inning for Harwich. Ethan O'Donnell, plenty of speed over at second base. Base hit would almost certainly score him. Mariners would love to add a 3-run frame to their side of the scoreboard after surrendering one in the last inning. This misses low and away, making a 1-2 count now. Brock Wilkin, home run contest participant and all-star, awaits on deck. He would love a chance to come up to bat and give the Mariners a tie or a lead with one swing of the bat. One, 2. Runs inside on Vitrano, and now he's even in the count, 2-2. Bourne on top of Orleans, 2-1 at Eldridge Park in the bottom of the 5th. Wareham on top of YD, 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th. And the Anglers on top of Katuah, 3-0 in the top of the 4th from Veterans Field. Here comes the 2-2. And that misses low. Vitrano doing a great job to come all the way back from being down 0-2 in the count. And now he's going to have a chance to swing it here, or earn himself on with a walk, one or the other. Malone comes set, the pitch. Breaking ball misses outside. Joe Vitrano draws his 2nd walk of the day. And now there's 2 on and 2 away for the big number 25, Brock Wilkin.
All you can be really asking for in a situation like this is you get what would be the tying run on base for Brock Wilkin, and that's exactly what the Mariners have done. This has been a great inning for them offensively after having one of their, in fact, their best offensive inning of the season just yesterday. I think it's really impressive to see the way that the offense has been resilient here tonight.
Harwich is already up to 10 hits on the night. It has been great for the Bats. They've stranded a handful of runners. As I mentioned earlier, they have stranded 6. Don't want to make it 8 here. You'll take whatever you can get from Wilkin, who's ahead 1-0.
Most hits Harwich has had in a game all season long, mind you. 12, a figure that came the last time they were here at Gov Fuller.
This is belted out to left field, and this ball is fair off the wall. In to score is O'Donnell. Vetrano's into third, and Brock Wilkin picks up his third hit of the ball game. An RBI double, and the inning continues here. It's 7-6.
Well, we were talking about it a bit earlier about how that home run hitting contest might impact Brock Wilkin, and, well, I'd say he's woken up. I mean, just an unbelievable stretch of baseball he's been having here for the Mariners today as well. I mean, already an RBI back in the first. He's again able to drive in Ethan O'Donnell. Just what a night it's been for the Demon Deacon.
Now the Babe steps in. Hunter Stokely, the left side of the box. Still 2 runs out there for him to drive in. He's the 8th batter in the inning. Kalai Harrison, the only other man not to hit, awaits on deck, and we're going to get a mound visit for Falmouth. Jeff Trundy glances over to the bullpen, and he will make the move. So we'll get a pitching change. That is the night for Luke Malone. He he leaves with 2 runners in scoring position, and we'll meet the new pitcher on the other side. Mariners still threatening. It's 7-6 Commodores. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Call to the bullpen, it's going to be George Arias who comes into the ball game. An Arizona Wildcat from Tucson, Arizona, making his Falmouth Commodores debut here tonight. He inherits 2 runners from the previous pitcher in Luke Malone, whose line is still opening. Hunter Stokely will be the batter. Favorable matchup for Stokely, lefty on righty, and he's already ahead in the count 1-0. It's already been a 3-run 6th for the Harwich Mariners thanks to 3 hits in the inning, a walk, and a hit by pitch. as Stokely rips this one through the gap and into right field. Into scores Vetrano. Here comes Brock Wilkin. The play to the plate is going to be cut off. Going over to second is Stokely, and he's in there. It skips into center field, but the Mariners have taken an 8-7 lead. Hunter Stokely cashes in with an RBI single.
The Babe is able to just blow that one through the right side. Harwich has just been hitting everything through there here today. It's been working out to perfection. It's been a lot of fun to watch these hitters come alive, and they've not had a bad day on offense prior to this. It's just that they've been getting their doors blown off defensively. So good to be able to see the offense pick them up on a night where the defense has not been what you would have liked perhaps.
Fresh count to Kalai Harrison, the 9th batter in the inning. Hunter Stokely has given Harwich the lead. Just when they thought all momentum was lost, they surrendered 3 runs in the 5th, and now they strike for 5 here in the top of the 6th to jump out 8-7. They tied their season-high hit total with 12 as well, and still counting plenty of ball game left.
Something about Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field.
1-0 to Harrison, misses up high, and it's now 2-0. So Arias kind of thrown into a tough situation, gives up a hit, and those runs will be charged to Malone, but definitely hurts. So Malone's line is finally closed as this one is foul tipped to the backstop. He goes an inning and 2/3, allows 3 hits, 5 runs, all earned, walks 1, and strikes out 1. And that's got to be awesome for Zane Probst. He's off the hook now with his team taking the lead in what was probably his worst outing of the year. 2-1. This is up high, and that makes it 3-1 now. Will Hamiter started the inning with a double and then came around to score. We thought it was going to be another one of those brutal innings after he thought he had a triple. They made him take a double for one reason or another. We have a blind spot down the left field line. But the Mariners have struck for 5 as Harrison walks there. He will reach base. And now everyone in the Mariner order has come up here in the 6th. They have batted around. Will Hamiter will get his second ups here.
Yeah, hitter and Hamiter, who's just been dangerous all day long. He stands plenty of reason to be able to just continue to blow this inning wide open here for Harwich.
Does not have a 3-hit game yet this season. Has a few 2-hit games. But it will be a great time for him to cash in now. Runners on first and second, 2 away here in the top of the 6th. Breaking ball to him is high for ball 1.
And the thing you have to like, too, if you're Harwich, is that a lot of this has come with 2 outs in the inning. Seidel had grounded out to short, but since then, Vetrano got on with a walk. Back-to-back singles from Wilkin and Stokely, and now Harrison on with a walk.
As this is fouled back towards the Falmouth press box, and so it'll be 1 ball and 1 strike. What an inning for the Mariners. We'll recap it for you after this next pitch, assuming the inning doesn't end. 1-1 from Arias, misses down low. Started with Will Hamiter in a leadoff double. Brian Arndt was hit by a pitch. David Smith flied out to left. Then Ethan O'Donnell singled. Tommy Seidel grounded out. An RBI ground out. Joe Vetrano walked. Brock Wilkin doubled. Hunter Stokely singled. And Kalai Harrison walked. That's the 9 that have come up. As this one going to be in there just above the knees. And it's 2-2 now to Hamiter. O'Donnell, Seidel, Vetrano. O'Donnell, Vetrano, Wilkin, Hamiter, and Arndt have already scored in this 5-run 6th. That is tied for the most runs that the Mariners have scored, or maybe it might have been bested last night in the 7-run inning. As this gets up the middle, Hunter Stokely barreling around from second base. He's in to score. An RBI single for Will Hamner, his first 3-hit game of the year, and the Mariners continue the rally. They are really running it up here.
I mean, how about this? Will Hamner, again, talked about it earlier in the game. A guy who's just on his second chance here in the Cape Cod Baseball League now with Harwich. Was cut by YD, brought in by Coach Englert, and what a performance he's been putting on as of late, especially here tonight. The 2 doubles and now a 3-hit game for the first time here in his CCBL career. Have a night.
Arias does not record an out. He is going to be pulled from the game. The 4th pitcher for the Commodores will be coming in. A tough debut for Arias. And we'll take another break. 9-7 Harwich. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. So Brian Arndt will be the 11th batter in the inning for the Harwich Mariners. They still have runners on first and second. Harrison at second, Hamner at first. And the new pitcher is going to be Braden Matthews, a JUCO guy out of Walters State Community College from Bartlett, Tennessee. This will be his 4th appearance, all in relief. He's thrown 3 2/3, allowed 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, just the 1 walk, and opposing batters hitting .333 against him with a .191 whip. As it's going to be quickly 0-2 to Brian Arndt, who's going to have to protect. Does not want to make the last out in what has been a fantastic half inning for the Mariners. Their 2nd best offensively all season.
I mean, how about it? You find yourself up by 2. You were trailing coming into this inning by a significant margin.
As Arndt grounds this over to third, it's going to be a play on to second for Anthony McKenzie, and they get the out. But the Mariners strike for 6 and take a 9-7 lead just like that. It is offensive fireworks here in Falmouth with the Commodores coming back up. We'll take a quick break and be right back. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back. We officially have Zane Probst's line for you after what seems to be forever ago since he was in the game. It was just the last inning as he went 4 1/3, allowed 8 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, walked 4, and struck out 3. He is off the hook now, and Cameron Mayer is now on the hook for the win after that 6-run top half for the Mariners. They'll have to go now through the top of the order. The only batter that did not come up to the plate in Alex Mooney. Alex on the day is 1 for 3 with a single, as Cameron Mayer trying to shut them down in order here. As this is grounded over to the shortstop, Harrison. He goes on to first just in time. A nice play by Harrison. Had to be hasty, and he was. That's a nice out number 1, a 6-3 putout. And Mayer's already sat down the first 3 of the first 4 he's seen.
Yeah, really nice job done here by Mayer to open up the inning, and a great opportunity for him. You mentioned that he's on the hook now for the win, should the Mariners be able to hold on here. And you want to see a guy in Mayer, a guy who's had some tough outings as of late, be able to come in, put out a meaningful outing in a situation where he can actually come in and have a positive impact on the game here.
This second pitch is laced out to right field, but caught by Tommy Seidel. He takes a few steps in, and just like that, on only a few pitches, Cam Mayer has 2 outs.
From Arkansas, number 9, Chase Borfin.
Chase Borfin will climb in. He's been a problem for the Mariner defense. He's doubled twice, come around to score on both, and also flied out to left. Gets his first crack against Mayer, and he flies it way out to deep left field. Going back is Hamiter, and he's going to get it. It's a 1-2-3 for Cam Mayer. The dugout loves it, and we change over to the top half of the 7th once again. No runs, no hits, nobody left on. In order they go. It's 9-7 Mariners. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We head to the final third of the ball game, as it'll be 9-1-2 for the Mariners, and taking you the rest of the way is going to be my broadcast partner, Tim Foley. Tim.
Thanks so much, Devin. It's going to be the 9-1 and 2 hitters due up here in this half inning for the Harwich Mariners. David Smith opens up the frame, takes a first pitch called strike from Braden Matthews, who's right back out there. Came in and forced Brian Arndt to ground into a ball that was thrown from McKenzie over to Halter on a 5-4 relay to cut down Will Hamiter. Fielder's choice would have been a simpler way to put that. It's an 0-2 count now as Smith fouls off the 0-1 pitch. And what an inning that last inning was for the Mariners offensively. You said it back in the inning, but second most runs that Harwich has scored in a single inning all season long. Second only to last night's performance, in which they scored 7 in the second inning. So you really have to love what you can see at this point in the season from Harwich. As the 0-2 comes in from Matthews here. That's going to be scorched right side, takes a funny hop at the lip and jumps past the outstretched glove of Jacob Walsh. A single to open up the top half of the 7th inning, and Harwich is off and running.
David Smith gets another multi-hit game. That's number 2 for him in the night. That's the first one we've seen into the outfield in a long time for him. But now 14 hits for Harwich. They already have a season high in that department and counting. It has been a thing of beauty to watch them come alive here.
And one of the things that's fun to watch, too, is that Harwich is capable of having that inning now. As bunts shown by O'Donnell, he'll poke it right over to third. Charging McKenzie throws onto first in time, and there was nobody covering third base, so David Smith, with a high IQ play, runs down to third base safely because it was vacant. He's now into third safely with 2 gone. Or pardon, 1 gone. Scoreboard reads 2. Pardon, I should think for myself for once, as man is on third base now for Tommy Seidel.
Yeah, great heads-up base running, a high IQ guy. He knows it's a slow roller to the left side, takes it all in, and then rounds second, gets over to third, and now much more manageable for Tommy Seidel to get him in.
So David Smith trying to come across and score here tonight. He's yet to do so, as the first pitch into Tommy Seidel's in for a called strike. But a couple of Mariners extending a couple of streaks here tonight. Ethan O'Donnell and Will Hamiter now up to 5-game run streaks in which they've come across the score as Seidel cracks this one out to left field. Borfin lines it up. He makes the catch, and charging in from third, tagging up, is going to be David Smith. So now he comes in, and Harwich is up 10-7. Third game all season in which the Mariners have scored double digits.
Really great situational baseball from Seidel there. Gets under it, sends it out to the warning track, and that is just baby food for a guy like David Smith. He's able to tag up easily, get on in, and now you extend your lead even more. We'll see if they can continue to keep it going.
Harwich with 14 hits in the ball game right now, season high. That they last were able to reach was 12 here at Gov Fuller Field, so 14 the new mark. As Joe Vitrano stands in now, yet to record a hit here tonight, but he's gotten on base twice. Got as far as third in the 5th inning, came around to score in that big 6th inning. As the count now here is going to be 1-1 to Joe Vitrano. Vitrano, he extends his on-base streak to 7 games after being able to get on twice here tonight. The 1-1 comes in, misses outside. It's 2-1 count now. Ethan O'Donnell's streak extends to 5 games. Hunter Stokely's to 5 as well. Same can be said for Tommy Seidel as well as Will Hamiter. The 4 of them all up to 5-game on-base streaks right now. And Brian Arndt, he's up to a 4-game on-base streak. So just goes to show everybody here for Harwich. I mean, right there, I just listed off 6 guys for you who have gotten on in 4+ consecutive games. Offense is coming through and through this lineup as of late. It's a 3-1 count to Vetrano. Matthews comes set, kicks, and delivers. Cut back foul, 3-2 now with 2 outs.
We'll see, Vetrano had a huge walk back in that 6th inning to extend the inning. They were trailing 7-5 at the time, or maybe even 7-4 when he walked and was able to extend it. And the rest is history as they went on to score another 5 runs in that inning.
Vetrano takes yet another walk. A 3-walk night for Joe Vetrano. How about it? As he will head down to the bag for now. Brock Wilkin to come up to bat.
I believe that's the first 3-walk game for a Mariner this season.
I believe Chris Newell did it once,
yes,
but it has not happened all that often.
It was Chris Newell, so the only active Mariner, rather, with a 3-walk game, excuse me. They come in 3 straight innings.
As the first pitch is into Brock Wilkin for a ball, misses at 76 miles an hour. And so the count opens at 1-0, but what a tough night it's been for these Falmouth pitchers. Not all too bad entering that 6th inning. 3 runs given up across 5 complete, but you drop the ball, so to speak, in the 6th inning, giving up 6 runs. And then allow Harwich here to tack on another one in the 7th. And everything's looking up for the Mariners right now. As the 1-1 comes in. Swing and a miss. It's now a 1-2 count.
Wilkin already has the 3 hits here tonight. 5 total bases for him. We'll see what he can do here in his 5th at-bat. It's crazy to say 5th at-bat. We're just into the 7th inning.
Here's the 1-2. Called strike 3. Down goes Wilkin looking. First strikeout of the night for Braden Matthews, and the inning ends. David Smith comes across the score as the Mariners are able to tack on 1 more. It's 10-7 Harwich. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll be back in a minute. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We bring you back inside Gov Fuller Field. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you in the bottom of the 7th inning. Andrew Pinkney up to bat. Peyton Stovall and Jacob Walsh also due up in this half inning for the Falmouth Commodores as Cameron Mayer back out on the mound. He's just the 2nd pitcher that Harwich has used here tonight. Meanwhile, Falmouth, they've been struggling to find an arm that works for them. Braden Matthews has seemed to have done an all-right job so far, but he has given up the run in his inning and a 3rd pitched to this point. It's a 1-1 count here to the batter in Pinkney. Mayer rocks and delivers. popped up, right side. That's out. Hunter Stokely pacing over toward the fence, trying to make it work, but it ultimately drops down. And so we'll do it again at 1-2 here to Pinckney.
He was hit by a pitch, and his last at-bat came around to score. That's the only time he's reached base, though, tonight. And you need your all-stars to get you going here. Pinckney, one of the 3 in the order for them. They trail by 3 here with just 9 outs to work with.
Yeah, time running out for the Commodores. After Harwich was able to put up a 6-run 6th inning. Really impressive stuff from the Mariners. As it's a 2-2 count now here to Pinckney. That ball's going to be hit on the right side. Stabbed at by Smith. He'll throw on to first, and there's the out. An impressive diving effort made by David Smith as there's now 1 gone in the inning.
Wow, that is fantastic play. What a dive by Smith, and to get the throw off just in time to beat Pinckney. That is great defense. Harwich needs whatever they can get.
First pitch into the next batter, and Peyton Stovall ends up missing for a strike, and it's an 0-1 count. Or connects for a strike. It's an 0-1 count, excuse me. Mayer stares in. That one's going to be hit out toward right field. Going back is Seidel on the run, and instead it's going to be O'Donnell who settles underneath it, makes the catch, and there's now 2 gone in the inning.
Now batting the first baseman from Oregon, number 33.
Nice job there. You're getting back-to-back outs.
Walsh.
And now Jacob Walsh is going to come in. He had a big single back in that 5th inning. We'll see if he can start the rally. Commodores have not had trouble scoring with 2 outs here, but they need it more than ever right now.
So up to bat now, it's going to be Jacob Walsh going up against Mayer. Here's the pitch. That's going to be in for a called strike. And so the count opens at 0-1. Walsh so far on the night, well, he is 1 for 3 singled and got all the way over to third back in the 5th inning. So he'll take another pitch in for a ball. It's a 1-1 count now here to him.
Yeah, but how about Mayer? He's retired the last 8 that he's faced. You can't argue with how he's been for you tonight. This has been his best outing thus far by a long shot.
Yeah, you really do love to see it from Mayer. Again, a guy who's had some struggles this season, a guy who has an ERA of 5.78, but otherwise right now he has been impressive through what he's been asked to take care of, as that one's going to be belted down the first base line. That's going to be fair. Just fair. Tommy Seidel paces over as that's going to be hit out of play. It looks like it's going to be a ground rule double for Jacob Walsh, who has his 2nd hit of the night.
So you'll take it. It was a late call by the umpire. They didn't know if it was going to be fair or foul. Stokely's not pleased at all with him, arguing. And I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, just handing off the equipment. I was wondering what the verdict was going to be, as Coach Englert will make his way out to the mound, and we'll see what's going to happen. I think he's got a word for the first base umpire after that delayed call.
Yeah, looks like it, and I mean, and I'll say this as Coach Englert goes to have a talk about it. Sitting here where we are right behind home plate, we're actually pretty much right down that first base line. It looked to be pretty close, admittedly, but certainly more to the left side. Certainly understandable how the call was made there down the first base line, but Englert certainly not happy about it. He was hoping perhaps to give Mayer a chance to deal with Walsh and stay locked in. He was looking for another 1-2-3 inning, but that's now averted as Harwich is back on their heels. Englert will now jog back to the dugout, try to get Mayer back pitching as quickly as possible. Now, I'm sorry. I could not have possibly heard that correctly. The umpire discussions here at Gov Fuller Field are sponsored by a pizza shop?
That's good good advertising. Why not? Nice way to put it.
I mean, I'm wondering who's making commission on that sale. How do you sell that? Look, we've got an offer you can't refuse. As the count opens up at 1-0 here to Drew Brutcher. Nothing gets people hungrier for pizza more than watching a coach yell at an umpire.
No kidding, huh?
We can attach your brand to that argument like that. I've seen it all. The 1-0 misses for a ball. It's a 2-0 count. Now, you hear about plenty of foul balls being sponsored by companies like, oh, you can keep that ball courtesy of this company here that's paid for the foul balls. But umpire discussions, I mean, how often do you have to market that as happening in any given ball game to actually try to suggest to somebody that, hey, put money into this, as that's going to miss for a ball. It's a 3-0 count.
Probably once a game. It could also be like a random promotion, like something random happens and automatically it's sponsored by that joint, but I don't know. Definitely a bizarre, something we haven't seen before.
It's a good point. I stand to learn a thing or two about sales and amateur sports. As that's going to miss outside. Ball 4. 4-pitch walk issued by Cameron Mayer. That puts runners onto second and first now here for the Commodores, as Walsh still stands on bag number 2. Anthony McKenzie up to bat now, as it's a fresh count here to him. He's come around to score once already tonight. Doubled back in the second inning. That's when he came all the way around. Walked in the 4th, was stranded on second, and then struck out swinging back in the 5th. And so now the inning continues to get away from the Mariners here. Back in the first 3 innings of play here tonight, the Mariners struggled to get out of innings with 2 outs recorded, and each the first, second, and third. All 4 runs scored between those 3 innings were recorded with 2 outs in the inning already. And now we're seeing here, first 2 men went down in Pinckney and Stovall, but Walsh gets on with a double. Brutcher walks thereafter, and suddenly there's a lot of pressure on Mayer right now when there perhaps shouldn't be. Anthony McKenzie's behind the count, up to bat. It's an 0-2 count. Mayer stares back at second base, looks home, and here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-2 the count now.
We'll see. He needs this big 3rd strike. That would be a great way to get out of the inning, go 7 complete. And you got a more than capable bullpen that is due up for you. A lot of gunslingers that go late in the innings for Harwich, and Mayer just needs to get out of this one.
0-2 pitch coming up. Here it is. Popped up, back foul out of play. Remains 0-2. Chris Cassidy thought he had a play on that one, but he failed to realize that he was about 100 feet away from the landing spot of that ball. So we'll do it again at 0-2. Once again here to McKenzie, who's already struck out once here tonight. In fact, he was the only strikeout victim of Cameron Mayer back in his second batter faced back in the 5th inning. 0-2, here it is. Just misses inside, 1-2. 83 miles an hour, couldn't find the inside corner.
Go, Cam. Go get him, kid.
Really coming down to crunch time for the D3 product. This would be a huge out here of McKenzie. There is 2 on. 1 swing of the bat could change the entire course of the ball game. And late in this game, you really need to find a way to get out efficiently and quickly.
1-2 is going to be cut on and missed. Upstairs fastball, couldn't find any of it. Down goes McKenzie. 2 strikeouts now on the night for Cameron Mayer as he gets out of the inning unscathed. We head now to the top of the 8th inning. We'll be back on the other side. Harwich up to bat in a minute. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Leading off for the Harwich Mariners.
Welcome back inside Gov Fuller Field. Tim Foley and Devin Dobick along with you. Harwich up to bat now. It's the top of the 8th inning, as it's going to be the 5, 6, 7 hitters who are due up for the Mariners here. Hunter Stokely, Kalai Harrison, and Will Hamiter all due up in this inning for the M's. As back out on the mound, Braden Matthews. It's set to be his second full inning of work. Was working through that 7th inning, did give up a run. David Smith came across the score as the count's now 1-1 to Hunter Stokely. But, I mean, when you consider the damage that Harwich has been doing to pitchers otherwise here tonight, I'd say Matthews, for all intents and purposes, has been keeping it within check. As this one's hit on the ground over to first, Walsh fields it, bobbles it. Covering first was the pitcher in Matthews. He's able to receive the throw from an off-kilter Jacob Walsh, and it's in time to retire Hunter Stokely. There's one gone in the inning.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Stokely was going to catch a break, but not the fastest guy, and plenty of time to recover for Walsh. They get the first out, an important one as well.
As this now brings up Kalai Harrison, who on the night is 1 for 3. Singled and came all the way around back in the 2nd inning. That's going to be in for a called strike, and the count is going to open at 0-1 to Harrison.
Harrison's been on base twice, does have a single and also a walk.
Here's the 0-1. That's going to miss outside, and so the count is now going to be a 1-1. Mariners are on the road again tomorrow. Going to be at Bourne. That ball's popped up into the protective netting here, just in front of us over at Gov Fuller Field, and it's now a 1-2 count. Harrison trying to extend the inning here for Harwich, trying to make sure that there's at least a man on for Will Hamiter, who's been having himself a great night here, as that one's going to miss down low. It's a 2-2 count, 77 miles an hour. That one missed that.
Our apologies for Chris Cassidy laughing on the crowd mic. We know that you don't need to hear that, but unfortunately he just is in one of those moods tonight.
2-2's cut on and missed. 81 miles an hour. Got it right past Harrison, and it's the second strikeout of the night for Braden Matthews. It's going to be now 2 outs here in the inning. This brings up Will Hamiter, who's having the game of the season right now. 2 doubles and a single for him for the Commodores. What a night it's been for the Alabama product, who takes a first pitch called strike. It's 0-1.
A lot of bugs flying into my scorebook tonight. They just kind of beeline. It's like a suicide mission. And then they just die.
It's like scrapbooking.
I guess
it's
so.
an 0-1 count. That ends up missing 1-1.
Mariners just 6 outs away from one of their best comeback wins of the season. Be interesting to see what they decide to do with the bullpen here in the 8th and 9th.
That's in for a called strike. It's now going to be 1-2. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. We know Joe Savino is up and moving earlier here tonight. Here's the 1-2. Misses outside. 2-2 now. Hamiter.
Wouldn't it be something for Will to collect another hit here? I don't believe a Mariner has a 4-hit game this season other than Nick Goodwin. And that came all the way back on opening day.
Ball's going to be hit foul. So we'll do it again at 2-2.
So he'd like to join that good company after what's been a slow start for him, it's crazy how he has really just added to his average up to 238 now. And really someone you needed to step up, and he has been up to the task, doing a great job in left for Harwich.
2-2 misses high. It's a 3-2 count now. But yeah, really making it impossible for Engler to try and take him out of the lineup. With how he's been swinging the bat, what he's done tonight's only going to cement that even further. So you have to love what you're getting out of a guy who's been waiting in the wings for a while now. That's going to be hit down the third baseline foul. We'll do it again at 3-2. A nice at bat here from Hamiter.
Four have 3-hit games. Nick Goodwin, Joe Vitrano, Tommy Seidel, and David Smith all have hit 3 times in a ball game, but never 4. Brock Wilkin will also join that company here tonight.
That ball's going to be hit down the third baseline once again, foul. And another 3-2 count coming up here. It's been a quick inning up to this point. Hunter Stokely grounded out to first on a then flip over to the covering pitcher. Clyde Harrison struck out swinging, but Will Hamiter has been putting up a fight, as that's going to be in there for called strike 3. That's going to end the inning. Third strikeout of the night for Braden Matthews, as he's able to find the zone. It's still 10-7 Harwich. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Back in a minute. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The bottom of the 8th inning up now here at Gov Fuller Field. Tim Foley, Devin Dobick along with you as we get close to the 3-hour mark here tonight. Daniel Nerai is up to bat right now, as once again they look to make sure that the music is all squared away here. First pitch into Daniel Nerai is in for a strike. Nerai on the night had a 2 RBI single back in the 2nd inning, but since then he has grounded out each to second and third. Here's the 0-1. That misses for a ball. It's now 1-1. Mayer holds the glove head height, rocks and delivers. Cut back foul. Straight back, 1-2 count now at 86 miles an hour.
You need 3 runs. You haven't gotten the board if you're Falmouth since what appears to be the 5th inning, in which you got 3, which seemed like a ton at the time, but I They have just fallen off since then offensively.
That ball's hit foul once again, and so we'll do it again at 1-2. And yeah, it's just that Harwich has managed to outpace them on offense here tonight. Out ahead, usually 7 runs, a good enough margin to be able to win a ball game. As that's going to pop out of the mitt of Brian Arndt behind home. It's a 2-2 count now.
If you're Mayor, just keep your head down, keep throwing strikes. You've been great thus far, but you still got a lot of game to work with. Not sure how long Coach Engel's going to keep him out there. Not sure what's going on in the bullpen, but you really could use him to cash in.
That's going to miss outside. It's a full count now. Harwich this season, when allowing anywhere from 6 to 9 runs, 1, 6, and 2. Called strike 3. Daniel Neiright thought he had ball 4, started striding down toward first, but instead he's rung up. So that now brings up the top of the order in Alex Mooney.
Big strikeout for Mayer. Froze him, thought he had ball 4, but home plate umpire rings him up. That's got to feel good. Back-to-back strikeouts, you're up to 3, and your team with a 3-run lead. This has been fantastic.
That one's going to miss. Ends up going back off the backstop, and it's a 1-0 count. So Mooney on the night. He is 1 for 4. Got caught stealing second base the lone time he got on. That was back in the first inning. Yes, it's a 1-0 count right now. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss inside for a ball. It's a 2-0 count.
Mooney more than capable of starting a rally, though. He's hitting .272 on the season. So here we go. It's all going to come down to this. You're getting into the top of the order and longer into your outing. This is the 4th inning he's pitched in, so got to be very careful.
Ball 4. It's a 4-pitch walk. That puts Alex Mooney over on first base for the second time here tonight. This brings up Colby Halter as, yeah, Mayer has been working to a length here tonight. He's been busy. He's done a nice job yet to give up a run, but certainly don't want things to fall apart now here in the 8th inning. Here's the first offering to Halter. That'll be fought off, and it's an 0-1 count.
Yeah, the bugs everywhere. Jeez, they're like big moths, and they don't know where they want to go.
A 1 count here to the batter and Halter. Mayer stares in, and here's the pitch. Broken bat. It's going to be hit back up the middle, up through the middle infield, and it's going to be a base hit, single with 1 away for Colby Halter as he's able to help move Mooney down to second base.
And if I'm Angler, you got to go to the pen now. There's no more time to have confidence in your pitcher and mess around. The tying run is coming to the plate. You really need to consider making a change. No movement out of that dugout. They're going to keep Mayer out there, so we'll see how it works.
Jace Borfin now stands in. He's had a great night here tonight, Borfin. Akin to the night that Will Hamiter has had, 2 doubles. He's also come around to score twice. And so Brian Arndt's going to come out and have a conversation right now with Cameron Mayer, and they're going to try to work things out because it is starting to get away from you a bit here if you're Harwich in the bottom half of this 8th inning. Home plate umpire's going to go out, try to have a talk with Mayer on the mound, try to break this discussion on the bump up. Harwich looking to try to lock up the win. Bottom of the 8th inning here. Of course, you still have plenty of some more baseball to play. Not plenty of baseball to play, but it's coming down to it. And now Coach Englert's going to go out there, and we'll see this very well may be the day for Cameron Mayer. Englert goes to the mound and is going to have a talk, and yes, he will go to the bullpen. So that is the day for Cameron Mayer, as he had a great showing, but he's run into some trouble here in the 8th, and they're going to go to the bullpen to try to get out of it. We'll be back on the other side of the pitching change. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Welcome back, Devin Dobek, joined by Johnny Deppen as Tim Foley has exited stage right for the time being. So we'll take you the rest of the way here as the Mariners lead 10-7. It's a call to the bullpen. Drew Conover takes the rock from Cam Mayer. Drew on the season an all-star, a 1.76 ERA. This will be his team-high 11th appearance. He does have 2 saves across 15 and a third innings pitched. He struck out 16 to just 3 walks and allowed 10 hits. So he inherits the 2 runners from Mayer at first and second. The tying run comes to the plate in Jace Borfin. So we'll see what's going to happen here. But Johnny, welcome to the panel.
Thank you, Devin. It's great to be back in here.
There you go. Your second stint, I believe, maybe third.
Third stint, yeah.
Third stint with the mic.
When you and Tim were on Nesson.
Correct.
And then the time you were at the Red Sox game.
Yeah,
I called the game with Tim.
I
That was
guess
a lot
every
of fun.
time. This is the first time I've been present for one of your appearances, so we'll get a live showing. 93 on that pitch from Conover, who was selected in the 20th round of the MLB draft by the Detroit Tigers. Trying to close out, looking for a 5-out save here. which would be one of the best comeback wins for the Mariners all season. This one is dropped in there on the outside corner. Borfin disagrees, and it's now 1-2.
And the stat that sticks out to me with Conover is his 16 strikeouts to 3 walks, and part of me thinks that's why Coach E went to him in this situation. Don't want someone that's going to walk the bases loaded. You just want someone that's going to pound the strike zone.
That's exactly what you're going to get for out of Conover, and there's a strikeout on cue. You heard what you said, Johnny, and gas one right by Borfin. His first strikeout in as many batters, and that's out number 2 here in the 8th. Andrew Pinkney will get the baton now. He's grounded out to the pitcher, struck out swinging, been hit by a pitch, come around to score, and also grounded out to second. Trying to extend the rally, he once again represents the tying run for the Commodores, who trail by 3. This one runs inside, almost got him, but it'll be a 1-0 count.
Go, Drew.
Conover just transferred to Rutgers, a rising junior. Played for Seton Hall this past season along with Zane Probst, who started the game. So a couple Pirates here tonight. As this one misses down low, it's a 2-0 count. You got Peyton Stovall on deck. He's 1 for 4 with a single. The clock is ticking on the Commodores. They once led by 4. They now trail by 3. A 7-run swing. 7 unanswered runs from the Mariners, as time is granted to Pinkney.
Yeah, and a 2-0 count, something that you don't see often with Conover. He's someone that really attacks with first pitch strikes.
The pitch. This is fouled back to make it 2-1. 94 miles an hour on that strike from Conover. Still a lot of scouts in attendance, so nice to see Conover, although he's been drafted to get some more looks, hasn't made his decision on if he will play pro ball yet or not. This game already above 3 hours. It's been 3 hours and 11 minutes. The longest game for the Mariners this season has been 3:21. Pinkney goes around there, and that makes it a 2-2 count.
Good, 11. Come on now.
2 balls, 2 strikes from Conover. The pitch. Oh, they thought they had it. Arndt had practically ran off the field, but it's going to have to throw another. It's 3-2.
I think everyone in the entire world thought that was strike 3. 'Cause that's been a pitch that's been called consistently a strike pretty much the entire game.
Tough one there, but you have to roll with the punches. As another pitch. This one misses outside and loads the bases. So it's a strikeout followed by a walk for Conover after he thought he had another strike 3. And now there's nowhere to put him for Peyton Stovall, the designated hitter.
Now batting.
Yeah, and you can't let this get to you. You just got to keep doing what he did in the first batter, which was attack the strike zone and get him to swing at pitches that may be outside the zone, but mainly just pounding the strike zone.
Another game has been finalized. That's the Gateman who defeated the YD Red Sox 4-2 in 3 hours' time from Spillane Field. Reminder that Brewster defeated Hyannis 3-1, so as it stands, they are in second place. The Mariners can take that right back with a win here tonight. It's 1-0 count to Peyton Stovall. And this is grounded over to second. Shouldn't be much trouble for Smith. He fires to first, and the Mariners get out of it stranding. The base is loaded. So we head to the 9th. The Mariners looking to add some insurance before we go to the home half. 10-7 Harwich. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back. Devin Dobek, Johnny Deppen bringing you the action here from Gov Fuller Field. Call to the bullpen, Evan Harmon comes into the game, a right-hander, 6'3", from Nampa, Indiana, from Central Arizona College. Has a 7.71 ERA across 2 games thus far. No starts, 2 1/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 walks, no strikeouts. Not credited with a win or loss, and opponents hitting .400 against him with a whip of 3.86. It has been a tough go. He's behind on Arndt, 1-0. It'll be 8-9-1 for the Mariners due up. The pitch. That misses outside, and it's going to be 2-0. Arndt on the day has reached base 3 times. He walked, singled, was hit by a pitch and scored, and then grounded into a fielder's choice in his most recent at-bat, all the way back in the 6th inning. It's now a 3-0 count from Harmon. Night is over for Braden Matthews. He went 2 complete innings, allowed 1 hit, 1 earned run, struck out 3, and walked 1. .30 is in there to Arndt and makes it 3-1. Drew Conover came in relief for Cameron Mayer and was able to get out of a bases-loaded jam, and that's why those 3-run lead's still intact as Brian Arndt draws a walk. He's been on base now 4 times in the ballgame despite just 1 hit.
Yeah, that's something we see from Matt Gussetti as well. He's someone that can find ways to get on base without getting hits, and that's something we've seen from Arndt tonight.
It's nice to have catchers who can hit low in the lineup and still contribute to the offense, and you put it perfectly. That's what Harwich has. Both of them, day in and day out. So now David Smith will climb in. He's 2 for 4 on the day. He's got a pair of singles. Came home to score once as well. He's ahead 1-0 as Harmon really struggling with his control right now. On deck, Ethan O'Donnell for his 6th attempt. As this one gets all the way to the backstop, down to second goes Arndt, and now a runner in scoring position.
Sorry, go ahead. Arndt not a speed threat, so not great if you're Falmouth to give him second base like that.
No, you never like to give out free passes. This one gets all the way to the backstop, so kind of an interesting circumstance now. You get David Smith, an RBI opportunity, a struggling pitcher in Harmon. He has really just not fared well this season in just his 2+ appearances now. We are 3 minutes away from tying the longest game that the Mariners have played this season. 3:21 against Chatham. The Nesson game was the longest, and this one is a very valid competitor. Also, the most hits in a ball game has been shattered. It was 22. Now there's 25 here tonight already, and still a little more baseball to go. 14 for the Mariners. That's their season high. Most they've surrendered to an opponent was 16 against Brewster, so that has not been broken. This one in there at the letters, make it a 3-1 count now to David Smith. As Harmon has thrown 7 balls to just 2 strikes to start out here. Really wild. The pitch. This is grounded over to third base. Picked up by McKenzie. He goes to first. Arndt heading into third, and it skips by third base and out of play. So Arndt will be awarded home. He doesn't even realize it yet. The umpire, when he gets up, is pointing towards home for the Commodores here tonight. Brings up the top of the order as it's now an 11-7 ball game. Harwich have their breathing room. It's likely that we'll see Conover once again in the 9th. With that 4-run cushion, he should be able to throw lights out. As first pitch to Ethan O'Donnell misses outside, and O'Donnell has a 2 for 5 ball game. He has been a bit shaky on defense, but made up for that by scoring twice and I believe knocking in a few others. Does have 1 RBI. So, He gets his first look at Harmon. Don't believe that run will be earned. It actually was because he was on in his power. But it'll be a 2-1 count now.
And the Mariners just tied their season high for runs, going back to July 8th versus Katuitt.
Yes, with 11. Fantastic, Johnny. Look at you, fitting in like a glove. That's a Tim statistic right there.
Well, he left his computer here for me, so.
There you go. And I respect the effort because I understand that you left your glasses at home tonight. Is that the case?
That is the case, yeah. We carpooled here, so I figured I didn't need to bring them. I was sorely mistaken. They're sitting in my car in Patriot Square right now.
That is definitely difficult, as this one is grounded over to first. A tough play for Walsh. He'll win the race to the bag and put out O'Donnell. Nice play there. Score at 3U, and that'll be out number 2. So just how difficult is it? Because you seem like you're fitting in nicely and doing well.
It's more distance for me.
Gotcha.
When I start to struggle to see. Like, I can't read what any of those banners out in right field say right now. I don't see any of those ads. I see that there's letters and there's some designs. I see Ace Ticket. That's the only one I see.
You're doing a great job stepping up when we needed you most. As this one, the first pitch to Seidel, gets all the way by to the backstop. Wow, Harmon has been wild. That's his 11th ball in 17 pitches. Officially the longest game, 3. Actually, it was a 6:01 first pitch, so tied now. 3 hours, 21 minutes. So it will definitely break the longest game record for the Mariners, as Falmouth still has to come up for their last licks. It's a 1-1 count to Tommy Seidel, 92 on that pitch from Harmon.
Yeah, he's bringing it. He's just having some trouble finding the zone.
This one misses up high. Now 2-1 count. On deck you have Joe Vitrano. Seidel does have a single today. Also an RBI on the sacrifice fly. Been credited for 2. He's ahead now 3-1 in a game that just seems to keep on rolling. As he swings and misses at that one. That one was a little high above the letters, but got a little antsy and anxious, and that's now a 3-2 count.
And you got to try to get on base for Joe Vitrano, a person who's walked in 3 straight plate appearances.
He'd love to swing it. Kind of a funky night for him. As Seidel fouls this one off onto the hill, and it's snagged by a lucky fan out there. Most of the Commodore faithful have filed out as this thing has gotten uglier and uglier. It looked like they were going to cruise to a victory after leading 7-3, but it's been 8 straight runs for Harwich. They have scored in 4 of the last 5 innings, and really not a bad thing to say about it. As Seidel rips this into the gap in right center field, that will get down for a single. Pinckney gets to it, and Tommy Seidel now a multi-hit game. Everybody really checking in here for Harwich. And when you think about what this means, Johnny, you're without Nick Goodwin, one of your star offensive players, and you just had your best offensive night without him. 15 hits, pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's great to see. Nick Goodwin, as mentioned, I think at the beginning of the game, he hadn't missed a game all season, so it's great to see that your offense can still perform when he's out of the lineup.
Everybody has really stepped up. So Seidel is on here in the 9th. Vitrano still hitless. He is the only Mariner without a hit, believe it or not, as the throw down will get Seidel. He is caught stealing. He didn't believe it. He thought he was around the tag. He's got some words for the umpire, but will have to jog off as he is caught. So we head to the 9th inning. The Mariners get one more insurance run. It's 11-7 and winning time here at Gov Fuller Field. We'll be right back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
bottom of the ninth inning, time for the Harwich Mariners to try to scratch their 4th straight win in the record books. Would be their longest winning streak of the season should they be able to pull things off. Up to bat in this half inning, it's going to be Jacob Walsh, Drew Brutcher, and Anthony McKenzie responsible for trying to extend this game for the Falmouth Commodores. As this one's hit on the ground left side, a couple of hops into the glove of Brock Wilkin. He'll throw on to first, just able to be pulled in by Hunter Stokely with that glove hand as well that he had get hit by a base runner earlier in this season, just about a week ago. Pulls it right in. He's able to make the catch. There's one gone.
And that's a big out, a big first out for Conover. It's going to be a 5-out save if he wants it. So to be efficient, get a quick out like that, it's huge. You got a 4-run lead. You got one back there in the top half. Now just close it out and seal the victory, get back to second.
It's Drew Brutcher who's up to bat right now. Brutcher on the night. He's had a great game for Falmouth, 2 for 2, 2 walks. He's come across the score as well. Did get picked off over at first base back in the 4th inning, and he's going to have to try to do something here to keep this game going. It's an 0-1 count to open it up as Drew Conover is able to find the strike zone. Conover able to come in, get 2 of the 3 batters he faced to go down, as that's going to be cut on and missed. 94 miles an hour. Drew Conover, he's got some hair on that thing when he decides to really let it go.
He can gun it. We've seen him get up into the mid-90s, and then he can drop one down around 80, give or take a few miles an hour. So very versatile.
0-2 fastball up high. Tried to get Brutcher to chase after it. He did not offer, and so it's a 1-2 count. You mentioned it, looking for the 5-out save, Conover, as he stares in with the 1-2 count right now. Conover would be his 3rd of the season should he be able to record it, as that's going to be outside for a ball at 82 miles an hour. It's a 2-2 count now.
That would tie the team high, which is held by Hunter Hodges. He's got 3. Really good bullpen for Harwich this season.
Yeah, certainly has been impressive, the guys that they've been able to put out there, as the 2-2 comes in. Called strike 3. Down goes Brutcher. First time tonight he's struck out. And Conover is able to punch him out. There's now 2 gone here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
One more. That's all you need to send this game home. It has now been 3 hours and 28 minutes. A long one, but you can seal the deal right here with an inning in order.
And so McKenzie comes up to bat, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Doubled and scored in the 2nd and struck out twice. Did also get on with a walk back in the 4th inning. But Harwich, again, they have not won 4 games all season long. Trying to pull something off here that would really cement the fact that they have been getting hot at the right time. As you're coming into the final stretch here, you're looking to pick up points. You're looking to keep ground with those ahead of you and put space between those who are behind you and yourself. And, of course, with Brewster winning today, you need a win to keep pace with them for 2nd in the East Division. And as of right now, it looks as though you've been able to successfully accomplish that, keep pace with that Brewster squad, and stay at the heels of the YD Red Sox. Of course, they're still a bit ahead, but they'll have to wait another day before potentially clinching first in the East. As this ball is popped up and out of play, foul. It's a 2-2 count now. YD did lose today as well, a 4-2 loss to the Wareham Gatemen. So you never know if they all of a sudden get cold. You have to see what happens. As it's a 2-2 count. Cameron Mayer had a nice outing. Ultimately not charged with any runs, as Conover was able to help bail him out. And now Conover trying to send the Mariners back out to Harwich with a win. The pitch misses outside. The count set to run full here at 3-2.
95 miles an hour on that pitch, though. He's still bringing heat despite now going an inning plus.
You always love to be able to see that from guys in extended relief outings, the fact that they're still able to really bring it and remain a viable option on the mound. Certainly don't want to pull another arm out. Here's the 3-2. Broken bat, floated out towards shallow center. Charging back from short is Kalai Harrison. He makes the grab, and the Harwich Mariners have won 4 straight games for the first time here in 2022, and it comes in the final week of the regular season at that. 11-7, your final. We'll take a break. We'll be back for the Harwich Mariners post-game show in just a minute. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. "15 hits here tonight for the Harwich Mariners. That's what's powered them to this 11-7 victory here tonight from Gov Fuller Field, their 4th straight win, an impressive win in which it was all powered behind that 6-run 6th inning, the 2nd straight night in which Harwich has scored 6 runs in an inning. And you love to be able to see that from your team in that they're able to power ahead in a single inning and just overwhelm an opponent.
And I think that if you told me on paper you're going to be without your everyday best hitter, Nick Goodwin, and that Zane Probst, your ace, was going to have his worst outing in the season, and the Mariners were going to have their best offensive game of the year, I would have called you crazy. And that they were going to win, I would have called you crazy. But they come in tonight and were fantastic. Will Hamner clocks in with his first 3-hit game of the year. Brock Wilkin, his first 3-hit game of the year. Hunter Stokely has 3 RBIs. It was just up and down the board. You could talk about everyone in this lineup that contributed. Everyone in this lineup did end up scoring as well. And the only one without a hit was Joe Vitrano. And he walked 3 times. So just great stuff to say up and down throughout the 9. And congrats to Cam Mayer. Comes in after a shaky outing for Probst, picks up the win. That's fantastic.
And I think the story of the night for me has to be Will Hamner. The way that he comes in, he's been in and out of the lineup, more out than in, struggling whenever he does get opportunities at the plate. He really just breaks it open here, and he's been turning it around these past few games, but this just cements that feeling that we've been getting that he's been turning a corner. He fully has, and he's going to be tough to take out of the lineup now here if you're Harwich. Losing pitcher here tonight, Luke Malone, who went an inning and 2/3, gave up 3 hits, allowed 5 earned runs, walked a batter, struck out a batter. The winning pitcher here tonight going to be Cameron Mayer. 3 complete, allowed 3 hits, did not give up a single run, walked 2 and struck out 3. And the save going to be issued to Drew Conover, who came in with a 3-run lead and was able to help power the Mariners to this victory here tonight. An inning and 2/3, gave up just the 1 walk and struck out 2. Just really impressive what we saw tonight from both Mayer and Conover, the way they were able to come in and help pick up Probst after he had gone out of the game.
And that's just what you need, a next man up mentality. One guy does bad, the other guys come in, pick him up. It was fantastic. This is a great team win for Harwich and a big momentum swing. They got their largest win streak of the year and so pivotal to keep that train rolling. You got one more West Coast matchup and then another one on Friday at home against Bourne. I believe Friday.
Yes, it will be Friday. There's an off day on Thursday. Let's get into the schedule very quickly here coming up. So the Mariners, they now are able to improve their record to 15-17-6 as they're now able to match Brewster's point total on the season at 36. So, Harwich, again, they will be facing off against Bourne tomorrow on the road. That's going to be a 6 o'clock first pitch from Doran Park on Wednesday the 27th. And then there is the off day on Thursday before the Mariners come back home on Friday to take on the Bourne Braves. Once again, a bit of a delayed home and home, staggered home and home, but a home and home nonetheless. And so with that, we leave you. The Harwich Mariners pick up the 11-7 victory here tonight over the Falmouth Commodores. A great team win in which the offense was firing and the bullpen was excellent. For my broadcast partner, Devin Dobeck, for the rest of our media team here present at Gov Fuller Field, I'm Tim Foley saying thanks so much for listening to our coverage of the Harwich Mariners here tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.